Well, good afternoon and a warm welcome along to beautiful Clontarf. We're in North Dublin for the first of this three-match series between Ireland women and Pakistan women. The new era for the Irish women's side continues, and after a flawless performance with 5 victories over Zimbabwe across formats, it's time for a T20I focus as Ireland will continue their build-up towards the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Europe qualifier with these 3 matches against their old rivals who they know so well in Pakistan. Now, about 15 minutes ago, we had the 2 captains out for the toss alongside the former Ireland women's captain, Isabel Joyce. Let's go and find out what happened.
Well, it's time for the toss here in Clontarf. I've got the 2 captains with me. From Ireland, it's Gabby Lewis. From Pakistan, it's Fatima Sana. And Graham Gray is the match referee. He'll be overseeing proceedings. Gabby, you've got the coin?
We're gonna bowl first.
Come closer. Say that again once more. You're going to bowl, and why?
Because today is our first match, so we definitely pitch looks good. So we are going to bowl first.
So you've trained here a little bit. You haven't played a lot of cricket in Ireland in the last while. What do you reckon you're going to try and keep Ireland under today?
Yeah, actually, we all know that the Irish condition is good for the bowlers. So pitch is also looking good. So we just try to restrict them in a good total. So there's
nothing specific. I love it. Listen, the last time you played a bilateral series, Ireland won. That may be a little bit of a shock for you guys back at home. So is there a little bit of niggle in this? You want to get one back over Ireland in their home soil?
No, actually, it's just another series. So definitely that was the past. So we will try to win this series.
It looked like you were having a huddle over there. Any team news you want to tell us about?
No, actually, that is all good.
All good. Okay, we'll find out about the team. Thank you so much, Fatima. Gabby, you're going to bat first today. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, happy enough. I think we would have had a bell first with just the conditions. But look, yeah, back ourselves to bat first. And yeah, hopefully the bowlers can get something out of it in the second innings.
I mentioned to Fatima there that you guys won that historic T20 series. It was a few years ago, but more recently, Pakistan beat you in the World Cup 50 over qualifiers. So do you feel like because you're so close in the rankings that this one's even more of a pressure series for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, coming from the series against Zimbabwe, obviously Pakistan are a slightly better team, being higher ranked, and obviously we've got good success against them in the past, so we're looking to repeat that today. And obviously, that was away and hopefully home advantage as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting going today.
2 more questions from me. One, you're batting first. What kind of total are you going to be aiming towards today?
I think, anything over 150, and then, we'll adjust. Obviously, we haven't played here in a while since last summer, but we've got great memories here playing against England. So, yeah, look, I guess the 2 batters up top will have a look, and yeah, we'll go from there. But, anything over 150, I would be confident.
And give us an idea of the makeup of your team today.
Yeah, we've gone with more kind of on the bowling side, but I guess they can bat as well. But the 3 players not playing are Freya, Christina and Lulu. So yeah, I guess we bat right down, and we've got plenty of bowling options. So looking confident going into today.
Okay, well, best of luck in the game. Thank you, Gabby Lewis, Ireland captain. So the news from the middle is that Pakistan have won the toss and they're going to bowl first.
So that's the news from the middle. Pakistan winning the toss and choosing to have a bowl first. Delighted to have the company of 2 faces you'll know very, very well indeed. 2 former Irish T20I captains as well. Andrew Balbirnie, the former Irish T20I men's captain, now current test captain, and of course Isabel Joyce, who's so out there. Andy, great to have you with us. Firstly, looking forward to this 3-match series.
Yeah, I think so. Having watched the girls in action against Zimbabwe, winning that series 3-0, there seems to be a lot of confidence in the group. Everyone seems to know their roles really clearly. And hopefully they can just bring that in and carry on their momentum into this series.
Is there any surprises out there at the toss? Generally, touring sides want to come in and have a bowl first in conditions that are going to be frank, a little bit alien for the Pakistan women's team here.
Yeah, no surprise at all. Bowling captain, very much bowling strong team, Pakistan. Like their formula generally is try and keep the opposition down to something they feel they can chase. Top 3 batters have scored over 1,000, but that's about it for Pakistan, the team that they've brought here. So yeah, no surprise to see them bowl first, and the batting will be the challenge for them, I think, in this series.
What are you expecting from this Pakistan women's side? They haven't played much T20I cricket. Their last game was last September on home soil. Exceptional in that women's ODI qualifiers. They'll head off to the World Cup in about 6 weeks' time. They'll be hosted in India and Sri Lanka. But in this format, are they already starting to sort of plot their way towards that World Cup next year in England?
Yeah, well, look, when you look back in their stats and the runs where they've come from in the past, a lot of those top run scorers are out of the side now, like the likes of Nida Dar, who we haven't seen in a long time. Bisma Maroof as well has been out of the team for a few years now. So they need to find runs from somewhere else. Gul Feroz is one that is exciting. Iman Fatima is, as well. She comes into the team today. So I think that's what they're going to try and do this series. Yes, they go into the ODIs coming up, but in the back of their minds, they'll be thinking T20 World Cup as well next year, and starting to think towards that.
Yeah, very much looking forward to seeing the debutante team. And Fatima, just 20 years of age, born in Sargadia there. We'll see her all-round skills, right arm, batter and bowler. Andy, the Irish side, full of talent, isn't it? A very young side, but you expect maybe even arguably favourites here on home soil, potentially.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at their last kind of 10 months, they've won 7 games on the bounce. And for any team, any international team, that's great momentum to have and belief in the group. And, they famously beat England at this venue last September, or last August, should I say. So I think the belief is definitely there, and the talent clearly is as well. And they're just building up to something special in the next, hopefully, 6 months going to a World Cup.
Something you've spoken about a lot when you've been captain of the white ball sides, but also now as the test captain, is trying to make use of that home advantage, the home format, the home crowd. That'll be important today.
Yeah, you definitely want to create a place that is tough to come and play. We certainly do that with our group, and the women seem to be doing that 100%. So, like I said, there's a lot of confidence in this group from that Zimbabwe series, and hopefully they can carry it forward going into this one.
Okay, I think we have the anthems starting already. We'll break for those.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for Ireland's call.
Well, fantastic to hear the two anthems there, rounded out by Ireland's Call, sung heartily not just by the players but by the good little crowd that is just gathering on a Wednesday afternoon here in North Dublin. About 5 minutes before the start of this first of the 3-match T20I series between these two sides who know each other so well, particularly in the women's format, with all that history and heritage between the two teams. And for Ireland, having been asked to have a bat first, one of the keys, one of the fulcrums at the top of the order will be young Amy Hunter. We caught up with her just before the start of play.
Amy, thanks so much for taking the time. First of all, you'll be batting up the top for Ireland, and you're facing up against Sadia Iqbal, number 1 T20 bowler in the world. How do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, obviously I think it's challenging. Being number 1 bowler in the world, she must have done quite a lot right along the way. But I think kind of just the same as always. Kind of know my plans and just stick to that when I'm out there.
So no specific things that you're looking to take into the game, considering her prowess with the spin, but also the rest of the spin attack?
No, I don't think so. I think in general, I think I tend to play spin probably a little bit better than the team. I think with my sweep, it's probably going to be my first plan. But yeah, I think kind of to see how I go out there, and yeah, kind of assess conditions as we go.
Last time you played Pakistan in a bilateral series, you won 2-1, but the last time you played them at all was in that World Cup qualifier in Pakistan, which you lost. So do you think there's a little bit of niggle between the teams, especially considering it's number 8 and 9 in the rankings?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're pretty closely matched teams. I think obviously we were pretty disappointed after the qualifiers, having got ourselves into a winning position, to kind of throw that away. But yeah, I think definitely should be a pretty good match out there today.
Finally, a new coaching setup, obviously Lloyd Tennant coming in and a few other new faces in the coaching setup. How's the squad settling and how are you settling?
Yeah, I think it's been great. To be honest, I think they've settled in really well. I think Lloyd and Liam and a couple others in the sports staff, it's gone really well. And I know the group it's kind of brought like sort of fresh sense around the group. Yeah, it's been super fun to kind of be a part of.
Okay, well, best of luck and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear the thoughts of young Amy Hunter there speaking to Isabel Joyce. It's a fifth bilateral T20I series between these two sides. They play plenty of cricket against each other. Pakistan very much hold the edge on the overall head-to-head 15-4, but there has been a few signs, particularly in recent times, that the Irish side are becoming more and more competitive with some of the very best sides in the world. And for Ireland, well, they've had really good preparation, haven't they? Those 5 wins over Zimbabwe across the 2 formats. But for Pakistan, since that ICC Women's ODI World Cup qualifier that they hosted on home soil, where they remained unbeaten, winning all 5 matches, they haven't done anything in terms of international matches. They have had an extensive Karachi camp on home soil and got 5 days in terms of preparation here in Ireland. But certainly for the Irish in particular, this is a pivotal series to try and continue that winning start for the new head coach, Lloyd Tennant, and build up to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Europe qualifier that they will have to get through. Back to the sub-regional level, remember, because of that disappointment of missing out on last year's T20 World Cup, they'll go over and take on Germany, Italy and the host, the Netherlands, 2 spots that will advance to that global qualifier that we're all really looking forward to. We saw the announcement from the ICC just last week that it will be held from January 12th through to February 2nd, and for the first time ever, a tournament of that stature going to be heading to beautiful Nepal. So I'm sure the Irish side will be desperate to get there to Kathmandu and indeed on to the T20 World Cup next year, that will be hosted just across the water in England, expanded to 12 teams next year. Exciting times for the women's game right the way around the world, particularly here in Ireland. And it will be Amy Hunter, who we just heard from, walking out alongside the skipper Gabby Lewis. And a special day for one of the men in pink. Gareth Morrison will be umpiring his first ever official international. The man from Armagh will umpire and stand alongside Rowley Black. It will be Aidan Seaver who will be the third umpire. We saw our match referee out there alongside Isabel Joyce at the toss, who's come and joined me now. Firstly, good afternoon to you, Izzy. Great to be with you, and great to be here for what should be a really good 3-match series. Very competitive, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, for me, in my career, we played Pakistan almost every second game, it felt like, for a period there, kind of early 2010, 11, 12, 13. And then there was a gap after 2014 for 4 years, and then another gap after 4 years, and we've had another gap since then. So it's kind of a strange one where we knew them really, really well for a long period of time. And now it's a whole new batch nearly of Pakistani players coming to Ireland. Yes, they were here a couple of years ago up in Breedy, but they didn't get much cricket in. So it's more exciting here. It looks like the weather's set fair today at least. We won't say too much about the next few days because we know what the weather's like in Ireland. But for Captain Fatima Sana, with the new ball in hand, an exciting period of time for her. This next 12 months so important after quite a quiet kind of period of time the last 6 months aside from those qualifiers.
Yeah, she'll be raring to get going. She has the new ball in hand. We're all set. Starts full and is whipped immediately into the leg side for what should definitely be a single, and Gabby Lewis immediately calls back Amy Hunter to get back for the second. So a good start for Ireland. She was very much the star of the show, wasn't she? Just not for Pakistan, but really in the tournament as a whole, in that ICC Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier in 2025. I know you were glued to the ICC TV feed there. She was the captain of the team of the tournament named by ICC too.
Yeah, she was brilliant and a breath of fresh air. I mean, we didn't get too much from her at the toss there about how they're going to go about things, but she does her talking on the pitch for sure.
Yeah, she's an impressive character, isn't she? Kind of leads by example, bat and ball.
Yeah, well, I think what we've seen as well is that in their domestic competition, she's actually the highest run scorer at the highest strike rate. You know, so for her, forget about the stats going forward for her batting up until now in international cricket. She's kind of a bowler that's becoming an all-rounder. So she's going to be really important in their middle order, I think, to get some extra runs outside of those top three that they very much rely on for their runs in T20s and one-day internationals, indeed.
No catchers in place. The slip immediately discarded with certainly a green tinge to the pitch. But you've played a lot of cricket here yourself, not just internationally, some club stuff and coaching here too. Tend to see a pretty good surface, a true surface.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like there's not going to be too much in it. I don't think Dale McDonough, the curator, is giving too much spin to Pakistan. He's not trying to give them anything because we know they have plenty in their ranks. But look, they don't just rely on actual turn. They're so strict with their lines and their length, so they won't worry too much about that. It'll be tough training for them ahead of the World Cup coming up in India. Well, in Sri Lanka for them, of course. Quick single here for Amy Hunter. Oh, that was tight.
It could have been close, Hunter, to get the dive in. You look at the makeup, though, of this Pakistan bowling lineup, obviously in conditions that are very different to the conditions that both sides faced there in Lahore during that qualifier back in April. They've still gone with the three spinners, and it'll probably be most likely 12 overs of spin we'll see with Nashra Sandhu and Sadi Iqbal, the two left-arm spinners. Then we see Ramin Shamim, the off-spinner, as probably the fifth bowling option. Natalia Pervez may be the other one who could bowl a few seamers.
Yeah, I think that's going to be too high. I think she's seen more as a batter now, isn't she? So it'll be if someone doesn't perform, and by and large, Pakistan historically, for the last 10-15 years, they know who their nailed-on bowlers are, and they're a team that feel like they can stick with those five bowlers if they do go with five. Sometimes you'll get an off-spinner that comes in. That's definitely too high. But have a good run down the middle of the pitch for Fatima Sana for that appeal. Yeah, you'll sometimes see a part-time off-spinner come in, but they don't have that in the team today, so I think it'll be just the five.
Yeah, other option might be Aliyah Riaz to maybe just turn her arm over if Pakistan really get desperate. Fascinating, isn't it? You think about how impressive Pakistan were there on home soil as we get to the end of the first over. 3-0 the score for Ireland, as to just how little cricket they've played since then, and building up to a 50-over World Cup, the elite of the elite, an 8-team competition. As you said, they'll be in Sri Lanka. The rest of the competition will be in India. But it's a slightly strange one for them, isn't it? They're kind of building up to the 50-over format. Ireland locked in on the shortest format, yep. T20Is.
Well, it's a home series for Ireland, I guess. It's home advantage, we decide. But it is disappointing, I suppose, for Pakistan. They don't get the one-day internationals, but they will have more build-up towards that Cricket World Cup, playing South Africa and 3 one-day internationals on home soil at Gaddafi Stadium. That's later in September. And then they'll leave for Sri Lanka for that. But they have a very busy 6 months next year. At the start of the year, they'll face South Africa again, this time away in February and March. And then they'll be hosting Zimbabwe, which is exciting for Zimbabwe. And then a triangular series right back here. Sadia Iqbal starts with a short one.
Yeah, pierces the gap beautifully. It's a fine stroke from Amy Hunter. Elegant as always. And she has this incredible knack of picking up a little bit more power than you'd think. That was just a punch, but as soon as it pierced the gap, it raced to the rope. Real
class here from Amy Hunter. A shot of a taller person, just the way she got on top of the bounce. A little bit short from Sadia Iqbal. So usually when you're a little bit shorter in stature, you'll look to pull that kind of length. But brilliant to see her playing straight through the offside and finding a packed offside field, the gap.
Yeah, a little bit of innovation gets it around the corner. You often don't see a fielder at the 45 angle, particularly in the women's game, and that's good exploitation of that field. An excellent running from Gabby Lewis, who gets back for the third. Good start from Ireland. Amy Hunter leading the way.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Amy Hunter, and she's so frustrating to bowl to because of just this little ramp shot she can play. For her, it's low risk. It's all about risk reward, and that could have very well made its way all the way to the boundary if it had been the slightly quicker one from Sadia. But still 3, and Gabby Lewis, she seems to be keen to run as many as she can. She generally does, but today even more so. So she gets herself back on strike, and I think this is an interesting matchup for both teams.
I'm going to plug that gap. The fine leg fielder comes in. 5 in tight on the offside, very much a ring field on the offside. Maybe a slight surprise to see Sadia Iqbal come down the hill from that LP Hughes end and Fatima Sana run up the hill, given that it's a spin and seam opening combination. If you haven't been here at Clontarf, there is a kind of quite a gradual hill heading up towards that side of the ground. As Lewis uses her feet, gets it straight enough to get off the mark, pick up a single. Izzy, I was across the pond in America during that Zimbabwe series, or for much of it, but it was a really impressive one for Ireland, winning all 5 matches. They were pushed at points though as well.
Yeah, I was actually quite impressed by Zimbabwe, I have to say. In periods, they just didn't perform for long enough periods to really put Ireland under pressure, but that last one, international in particular, they were impressive. And yeah, I think for them it's going to be a baptism of fire for a few years in the Women's Championship, but a kind of a good finish for Zimbabwe in that series, that they did get a little bit closer, but lots of work to do. They've got a clear idea of what that is. And for Ireland, it's about, when you are the senior team, how can you improve each game?
Swept away, and that is going to be just the single to round out Iqbal's first over. 9 runs come from it. The score moves to 12 for none. Tell us about this new era for the Irish women's game. I don't think there was many a dry eye in the camp when Ed Joyce, I know he's your brother of course as well, took his curtain call after 7 years or in and around that period as the head coach. Lloyd Tennant has come in, Glenn Quirrell has remained as the assistant, as James Cameron Dow as a spin bowling coach, and Beth Healy, the team operations manager, is still there. But outside of that, it's very much kind of a new guard, and under the leadership, permanent leadership now of Gabby Lewis in both formats. Yeah,
a few things have come out of the camp, and it's very early days to really say what their ethos is, but one has been a very clear one, that they want to take wickets as opposed to contain. So we would have definitely in the past been a team that looked to contain, create dots and take wickets that way. And
the leg side, just thought there might have been a flick on that, but given as a wide immediately by Rolly Black.
Yeah, so Gabby Lewis is an attacking captain. She's a thinking captain. She has now a lot of spinners, a lot of different options. So they can chop and change their team in a series in a qualifying tournament based on who they're facing, which was not the case in the past. You generally had your 5-6 bowlers that you went into every game with, and everyone had to adapt. So that's definitely something that has come through Ed's era. But definitely time for a change. You don't want the same voice over and over.
Again, that innovation, but the fielder is in place for that at that 45-degree angle. Fatima Sana into her second. Hunter very much trying to exploit the power play here. First 6 overs, as we see in all internationals, just the 2 fielders allowed outside in the women's game, the 25-yard circle instead of the 30-yard circle. Those 2 fielders at the moment, it's a split field, so fielder out at deep backward square on the leg side, and then a deep third on the offside.
Looks like a plan to Amy Hunter to bowl full. Both bowlers have bowled very full to her so far. You can see a real change in Fatima Sana, how she bowled to Gabby Lewis. Doesn't want to get up in her arc, so she definitely bowled back of a length to her. Amy Hunter, and this is the great thing about this era of batting, whenever they have a challenge, they're figuring it out in the ground, whereas back in our day, when we had face spinners, you had the way you played, and then that was it. Hopefully it came off on the day. So they definitely have a lot more tools, and obviously with a lot more training, a lot more chat, a lot more analysis, you're given the tools to do that.
Whipped away very stylishly, but to the protection for a single. Just saw Sada there taking a few kind of quite deep, heavy breaths. The difference in conditions between here and April. I was out there in Lahore for that ICC Women's 50-over World Cup qualifier there, and it was 42, 43 degrees. The day games were oppressively hot, but it was the humidity that was killing. It's about 13, 14 degrees with the occasional drop of rain, as always in Ireland. It's chalk and cheese.
I think it's more like 18, 20.
Oh, you're right.
You're coming from the US, so you're taking a few degrees off us.
I went to the low end of that gauge between 14 at 18 as that one's tickled around the corner. That should race away. The straight boundary's very, very tight indeed here at Clontarf, and it will be given as leg byes, but Ireland will take the 4 runs to the total gleefully.
Well, she's a photographer's dream, Gabby Lewis. It looked so elegant, almost balletic, this shot. Gets inside the line nice and early, on her tippy toes, and just manages to get something on it. I think she would have preferred bat, but she'll take the pad.
Yeah, right off the thigh pad, wasn't it? You talk about this ground here, and we saw in the Ireland-West Indies series, the ludicrous pyrotechnics, didn't we, of Matthew Ford with that record equaling ODI half-century and high scores throughout. Andrew Balbirnie, who we're going to hear from on commentary. Great to have the Ireland men's test captain alongside us for all 3 of these games. We saw him with a century as well. It tends to be a place where batters, once they get in, can make merry and particularly exploit those straight boundaries. Straight up the ground there, very short indeed. Oh, it's a beauty, and it's chopped Lewis in half. It's definitely gone off the seam, off the little bit of a green top. It's an old-fashioned nip backer, and it's Fatima Sana who has the first wicket.
Great delivery. Brilliant from the captain. They know how important Gabby Lewis is to this Irish batting lineup. She goes for just 1 from 6 deliveries, and Ireland lose an early one, 18 for 1. Perfect delivery, this one, to Gabby Lewis, who just, if there's a flaw in her batting setup, it's sometimes to push out at this kind of length, the seam back in. Sometimes it's swing, this time it's seam. Just perfect, and the perfect length as well, because it's only just about tipped the bails. Sometimes you get a good one. Gabby Lewis will have time to think about that, and you got to hope sometimes that you don't get those. But Orla Prendergast, she's a different kettle of fish, plays very differently to Gabby Lewis. The Ireland number 3, also Ireland's vice captain for the last year or so. Probably seen as Ireland's more up and coming, because Gabby Lewis has been around the traps for a very long time, even though she's so young. But Orla Prendergast has kind of burst onto the scene, held back from playing international cricket for quite a long time, and now she's the premier fast bowler and number 3 for Ireland.
Yeah, so critical, the big 3, I kept calling them out in April for Ireland: Prendergast, Lewis and Hunter. It's not that the others can't contribute. Delaney obviously key in the middle order as well. Prendergast immediately into her work, and the outfield is rapid. That's going to race away. I think it's going to get to the rope. It will. It's a chase in vain, and Parvez could not cut that off at all. Prendergast into her work with a fine square cover drive for 4.
Yeah, she's a real touch player, Orla Prendergast. So different to watch to Gabby Lewis. Plays with her bottom hand, lets the ball come right under her eyes, and you won't see a big swing for her. She just likes a short backswing and gets all the power from her timing.
Just one more look at the wicket here if we can. This has definitely gone off the surface. This is seamed back in, is he?
Absolutely, and this is the skill of Fatima Sana. This is what makes her dangerous, this exact delivery. You see it time and time again. You need to set up for that if you're Gabby Lewis. You got to make the umpire give you out if possible, so maybe get a little bit of a bigger step in, expect that length and push forward, get the back closer. She's looking for kind of width there that we just saw from Orla Prendergast. She's thinking maybe it'll hold its line, I can get my hands through. So look, a good piece of bowling. Can you blame the technique of Gabby Lewis slightly? But I think it's more about the bowling from Fatima Sana.
Yeah, and certainly the Irish seamers will be looking at that and saying we're going to get some assistance in the second innings. Here comes Diana Baig. Absolute inspiration, isn't she? Still continuing to excel with the ball. She was outstanding, I felt, throughout the ICC Women's ODI qualifier back in April, particularly against Ireland. It was her that changed the game. Ireland were, 96 for 1 or something like that, needing 210, 220, and 4 wickets for Baig. Might have been a career best, actually, as well. Just changed the game on its head.
Yeah, look, she's their X-Factor player. There's no doubt about it. She brings an energy to the group. She always has a smile on her face. It's just whether she can stay on the field, I think, a lot of the time.
Probably hasn't taken the scale of wickets you'd anticipate in this format. More prolific in ODI cricket. Just 38 wickets in her 55 women's T20Is as of today, but a good economy rate in and around 6. And a fantastic fielder, just a great sort of charismatic human to have around the camp.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a run out to be had, she's going to be the one there. If there's a catch to be taken, again, it's her. She's probably the best fielder in the team, and she gets herself into those danger areas. But sometimes when you're that athletic, you tend to get more injured than other players, unfortunately.
Short pulled away, but again, protection out there should just be the single. The importance of this series for Ireland building into the Netherlands, the expectation would be Ireland as the only full member nation there at that qualifier. They should take one of the two slots, but you want to take wins into it.
Yeah, well, I think this series is actually so much less pressurised, isn't it? You and I both know what World Cup qualifiers are like. They're so unforgiving. I mean, there's two teams that go through, and it's a double round robin. So the chances are that the cream rises to the top as opposed to one fixture being the be-all and end-all like we saw for the last World Cup when Scotland, who very deservedly got through.
You just need to look at the men's Europe qualifier, don't you? With Scotland missing out, Italy absolutely deserve their spot at the World Cup, but devastation for that Scottish men's group, and they're so ruthless, they're so cutthroat, those qualifiers. Presuming Ireland can get through that, you'd have to think Ireland and the Netherlands, the two fancied sides. Italy and Germany came through the sub-regional down in Italy that was hosted down there. But it's great to see the expansion to 12 teams next year. That will certainly give Ireland a really good chance at getting to England.
Feels like you got a bit of breathing room, doesn't it? A bit of wriggle room. You can have one
cut away, or it's driven away, in fact, a square drive of the highest quality. Hunter pounces on that length. A little bit of a shuffle down the track towards Baig, and a statement of intent from the teenager.
I reckon if you could zoom in on Amy Hunter, she'd have a smile on her face, because this is the area she's been working on through the covers, dance down, and the hands so good, and that's typically been an area where she's struggled in the past. So if you're Pakistan, you see that shot, you just think maybe the teenager, I don't want to put the mockers on her, but that is top class, and for her that's better than over the top. She'll love that shot.
Baig pulls her length back as a consequence of that previous shot. But yeah, with it being a 12-team World Cup, the first expansion of this cycle will continue. Definitely talk of down the line at getting to 16 teams and more. The fact that World Cup is in England, so close here to Ireland, to both of our homes, and you think back to Ireland going to the 2009 men's T20 World Cup there. It was in England, the big travelling support they got. It could be a really kind of transformational campaign for Ireland should they get there. A lot of work to do that. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I remember being at that 2009 World Cup, and it was absolutely amazing. And the best thing about England is how they turn out for games, regardless of whether England are playing. It's one of the best places at hosting international tournaments in any sport, because they really do turn up. So yeah, hopefully the flights will be there, the flights will be cheap to head across, and Ireland, if they do get there, manage to get some support. Iqbal changes ends.
Yeah, the great news as well, we've seen the ECB and the ICC come out with the announcement of the 5 host venues. They're not out at Chelmsford or Derbyshire or Durham with respect to those grounds. It's Birmingham, Bristol, Leeds, the Oval and Lords, the 5 host grounds. 33-game competition from the 12th of June through to the 5th of July. With the depth in this Irish squad, the quality in it, I know they'll have to obviously get through the Netherlands first, and the conditions that they'll find a bit tricky out in Nepal. You would be backing them to qualify, wouldn't you? You'd be expecting them to be there.
Yeah, and I think the pressure is actually higher on them than ever. Obviously, assuming they get through, which is not an assumption, because Germany and Italy are improving all the time, and that's the brilliant thing about cricket at the moment, both men's and women's, is the improvement across the board. But if they do get through to the global qualifiers, all eyes on them, along with a few other teams who should get through, but will they?
This is reverse swept. Very nice touch from Hunter. She's exploiting that short boundary up towards the far end of the ground. That races again to the rope. The outfield, well, it is picture perfect here in Clontarf, and Hunter has started ever so brightly.
Well, number 1 T20 bowler in the world or not, I'm going to take you on, says Amy Hunter. Just changes the grip ever so slightly. No third in place at the time. Little tickle down towards the shorter boundary. And 2 Ireland under-19 cricketers there, just having a look at that shot. She has a brilliant arm ball, Sadia Iqbal. I reckon that was it. She comes wider of the crease quite a lot when she bowls it, though, so it's a slight tell from her that I'm sure Ireland will know about. Probably too full to cut from Amy Hunter. I do think that's something that happens quite a lot with the quicker ball. People see the quicker pace and they go on the back foot when they should go on the front foot.
No real attempt to turn that, is there? Just angling it in and cramping Hunter for room. About 55 metres is the information we've been given from Del McDonough up towards that LP Hughes end of the ground. Feels even tighter than that, doesn't it? And then out square of the boundaries, we've got a slight disparity, 61 metres to the west. That's out towards the far side, and 55 metres here to the clubhouse. That's exactly where that one has been swept to. Two sweepers out there do well, but Hunter will keep the strike. 5 have been bowled, 36 for 1. Ireland will be pleased with that start. What kind of a total would they be looking to try and get to that they'd be comfortable of defending?
Well, Gabby Lewis said anything above 150, that's kind of what they're aiming for, and then reassess. She said that the two up the top will decide. Obviously, Hunter's the one that's still out there on 24 from 21. A good start from her. Lewis got a good one from 6. She won't be pleased to see that strike rate. Prendergast still out there. She's been watching quite a lot, 6 from just 3 deliveries. But she'll be pleased to be out there with Amy Hunter, who had a bit of a tough time of it at the start of the T20 series against Zimbabwe, but made a 50 in the third game, which I think Ireland will be relieved by.
Likely we'll see Leah Paul in next, you'd imagine, there at number 4, Laura Delaney at 5, Rebecca Stokel probably at 6, and maybe Ava Canning at 7. It is a slightly longer tail than maybe Ireland would like, although Canning and Arlene Kelly's batting definitely capable, as Ramim Shameen will come in with her off breaks, and immediately the reverse sweep comes out again. Now, can this get down the hill all the way to the rope? I think it will. Going to be 4 more. Hunter is manipulating the field beautifully and making merry here in the power play.
Well, they weren't contending for how quick this outfield is. Pakistan, a long chase for Sadia Iqbal after bowling the last over. She definitely thought she was in with a shout, but that just kept on rolling away. And Amy Hunter playing with the field, forcing Pakistan to change things around and opening up gaps where she wants to run 2s and 3s down towards the scoreboard is a really tough one to chase down.
Do just look at the makeup of this Pakistan attack, and you think they're almost bankers to bowl at least 12 overs of spin. And then you look at the conditions, what Fatima Sana did there to exploit the movement off that slightly green-tinged deck. You wonder, have they gone with the correct 11? No Tuba Hassan, the leg spinner, and then Wahida Akhtar is the right-arm seamer who's been left out of the 15-player touring party from Pakistan.
There's just 5 T20 internationals for 30-year-old Wahida Akhtar, so they're going with their more experienced players. And one thing that I'm interested to see in the matchup is the fielding, because Ireland have been slammed for their fielding in the last while, and actually I don't think it's as bad as what's been made out by any means. They've put down a few chances that have cost them, definitely, but I reckon Pakistan will find it tough fielding in this outfield. The outfield's very, very quick. They depend on dot balls. That one's blasted down the ground. Amy Hunter, power, bottom hand comes in, goes straight back past the bowler. Shamim expensive as she opens her spell.
And really good targeting of this key, the critical 6th over. Ever so important in all T20 cricket. This is the one where maybe that sheen has come off the new ball and you want to really go after it while the fielding restrictions are still in place. Good power. Tempted diving stop, she cannons into Prendergast, but really good batting and a fantastic start from Ireland, and particularly Amy Hunter. Yeah, the catches were really the difference probably out in Pakistan, weren't they, in terms of Ireland missing out on qualification. That leaked into the Zimbabwe series somewhat?
A little bit, and I think basically it's either really good or a chance goes down, you know. So I do think actually Ireland move better than Pakistan in the field. I reckon they put themselves in positions to stop balls or take catches that, and this might be being harsh, so I'm going to find this out in this series, but I think, just even based on what I've seen, I think that Pakistan don't get as close. I don't think they're as quick across the ground in the ring or across the boundary. They've really specific fielders who have to be in certain places, whereas Ireland, they're trying to make everyone able to field everywhere. That's my own view, but I could be wrong. We'll find out.
Well, Ireland certainly have the younger side, don't they, as well? Average age just 23 in this 14-player squad. That's the little mini bowling card there on the right. We see the 6 overs bowled so far. Just the 3 overs of seam. There's probably only going to be 8 overs of seam available for Fatima Sana, so she's going to have an awful lot to do, as we'll have a bit of a shuffle here in the commentary box. A bit of fond farewell for the moment to Isabel Joyce, and welcome in Andy Balbirnie. Andy, great to have you with us throughout the series. Really looking forward to your thoughts and your company, I have to say. And how much are you looking forward to it? A bit of a slight change in perspective for you.
Yeah, afternoon, Len, and afternoon to you all out there. I think it's very different being this side of the rope, but it's also quite refreshing to just kind of be here at the ground and experience a game from this side of the boundary. And been really impressed with the start that Ireland have made, particularly Amy Hunter up top. Just kind of manipulated the bowling beautifully, and I think that's a really good power play for Ireland. Just gone.
Yeah, those graphics just wrong there. It's actually going to be Nashra Sandhu, the left arm spinner, the second of the two fine left arm spinners to come into the attack. As good running again will get Hunter back for the second. It's an exciting Irish team, isn't it? Particularly this kind of power pack top three. I know Lewis has got a good one there, but Hunter and Prendergast, when they're at their best, they're about as good as there is in the women's game.
Yeah, and they seem very settled as a team at the moment, which is very important. Players seem to know their roles quite clearly. They clearly have a lot of experience in that sort of top 4 or 5 batters, and players in form, which is always important. That Zimbabwe series was a great series for a lot of the batters getting some runs, and that's so invaluable at this level. And hopefully we're seeing the signs of it so far. Gabby Lewis got a good ball, that can happen, but I've been really impressed with how Amy Hunter's gone about it. First game of a series against a new opposition this summer, and she's just manipulated it beautifully, particularly in that first 6.
The importance of that power play in all modern T20s, it's integral to basically how the entire innings goes.
100%, it sets the tone. As batters, you feel that responsibility when you're out there. The wicket looks pretty good. We certainly saw a bit of nip early on. That ball that got Lewis was a pretty good delivery. We'll get most batters out.
Is there a pressure you feel when you're up there, particularly if you get behind on your strike rate? If you're, let's say, 7 off 10 or 10 off 15, are you really feeling the squeeze?
Yeah, you definitely do feel the squeeze. I think the game these days is so much, stats driven, and your strike rate is almost as important as your average. So certainly as an opener, you feel like you've got to score pretty quickly, and that kind of sets the tone, like I said before. So certainly there is a pressure, and I think anyone would be lying if they said they didn't feel that kind of strike rate pressure.
Hunter certainly striking nicely in and around 150 to start with, as that one's a long way outside the off stump. Decision to be made here for Rowley Black, because the hands were shifted, and I think maybe a little bit fortunate to get away with that one. Nashra Sandhu, it was well outside the guideline, but he's interpreted it as though the batter has made a movement out towards that direction. It gets us to the end of the 7th over, 53 for 1 the score. Ireland off to a bright start. We saw the ODI series here for the men. You're part of that. Magnificent century you made. I think it was in the first game, might have been the second, you'll tell me better, but there is an ability for the opposition or the home side to get away here when you kind of get in and get set with the smaller boundaries.
Yeah, and the wicket usually plays pretty well. I liked the way they had a bit of green grass on it earlier. It's always a good sign that the wicket should hold and play pretty well as the game goes on. And I think you mentioned it earlier, Lenny, about they're probably going to look at 12 overs of spin here, and it doesn't usually turn as much as maybe it will later on in the week. We saw, like I said before, that ball that nipped back at Gabby Lewis showed that there is a bit there for the seamers if you put it in the right area, but time will tell. We're still only 7 overs into this first innings, but certainly a great start from Ireland.
Yeah, maybe just the one surprise really from Pakistan, playing to their, I suppose, traditional strength in the women's game, that quality spin attack. We've seen their head coach Mohammed Wazeem. Great to see Junaid Khan here, their bowling coach, and Abdul Saad, their fielding coach, amongst a 15-player touring party. So no space for Tuba Hassan, the right arm leg spinner. Wahid Akhtar was probably the one other seam option they had, and the reserve wicket keeper Alvi and Shawal Zulfikar, the 4 to miss out. From this position, we heard Gabby Lewis talk about sort of 150 in and around that marker that she would like to try and get to defend. 9 wickets in hand, maybe even that shouldn't be the limit of Ireland's ambitions.
Yeah, there's quite a small sample size of T20 cricket here in international cricket. I think if we look at the last games that were played here last summer, the England games, Ireland chased down 169 to win the game. So that kind of 170, I think England got about 170 in that first game and won the game. So I think anything above 160 is a really good score, and I'd imagine that's the communication that's coming back from the middle.
You talk about halcyon days in Irish cricket. Certainly that 5-wicket victory for Ireland last September was one of those special days that was really all built around Orla Prendergast's star performance, 80 off 51 as Ireland got up with the ball to spare. Just talking with Izzy before you came in, and Andy, about the potential of a World Cup next summer there in England. And you've played a lot of cricket over there. You were with Middlesex for quite a period, played a lot of club cricket there. How special would that be for the Irish women to get to that Women's T20 World Cup as we get to the end of the 8th, 58 for 1?
I think it'd be very special. I think a lot of times as a player you don't try to get too far ahead of yourself and look too far forward, but certainly an opportunity to play a World Cup in England. Naturally there's a lot of Irish people over there, a lot of people will travel, family and friends. But it's going to be very tricky. There's 2 big qualifying tournaments that they will be focusing on once these games are completed. And I think they're doing really good stuff. I think their performances have been outstanding. I said in the pre-match that they've won 7 on the bounce, and for any international team at any level, that's seriously impressive. And they've got good memories of this ground from last year, like I spoke of already. So a lot is looking good for this team.
Good use of the feet again, and that's lasered. What a powerful drive from Orla Prendergast. Burst through the mid-off fielder and will race to the rope. Probably not a better ball striker in Irish women's cricket than Prendergast, showing it again there.
She looks so effortless when she does it as well. It's not like a massive big swing. It's just all about timing. She hits it so hard there, and I think she's obviously hit it straight or close enough to the fielder, but she can't get a good enough hand in it, and it's a great boundary to start the over.
I think it was Sadi Iqbal who's just been moved out of that position, and Pakistan maybe trying to hide a few in the field. It's the captain who's gone there through to mid-off. Fatima Sana, the sole wicket taker thus far. Ireland definitely getting themselves into a strong position here, building up a nice second wicket partnership.
I think just the way that they're playing the spin bowlers is such a good indication of how things are going for them, because that is clearly their trump card, and they're manipulating it so well. By scoring a boundary in the first ball, naturally you can dictate the rest of the over, and you can see that the length has been dropped since that first ball and hopefully be pounced on.
You see the wasp on your screen there, the graphics. That's indicating in and around 160. That will then give us a percentage winning chance in the second innings. But for the first innings, that will give us a guide as to where Ireland are tracking towards. The 9 wickets in hand and plenty of batting to come. You think likely Leah Paul in next at number 4, Laura Delaney at 5. And that is going to be the case. One of those will have to come to the crease now as Hunter exposes her stumps. Sandhu, her accuracy is always going to be on the money, and it's cannon straight into the off stump. The second wicket falls.
Yeah, it just looked like Sandhu went a bit with a bit more flight there. It didn't really turn, and Hunter's tried to really give it a big heave to the leg side and probably got too much outside the off stump. But a critical time to get a wicket, and as a team and as a fielding team, you always want to go bang bang, get 2 newies in, and I think Amy Hunter's, she's played really well there, don't get me wrong, 37 off 30, but at 63 for 2, I think Pakistan get themselves back into this innings.
Get another look at the wicket here. It was a clever piece of bowling. I think you're right. I think she just went slightly slower through the air. A little bit of extra flight maybe given to it. Not really attempting to turn it. Kissy it on, maybe even the arm ball, and it just cannons into the off stump. It's something that Hunter does an awful lot. She shuffles around her crease, often does expose her stumps, and that will end a fine second wicket partnership that was worth 45 overall between Hunter and Prendergast. It will bring in Leah Paul, the left-hander, to the crease to take on the left arm.
Yeah, and I think just going back to that dismissal, that's the sort of shot that you want pace on. You want pace on the ball so you can just help it around the corner and score your boundary. So it's good bowling from Sandhu, and I think she's realised that Hunter is going to do a lot of sweeping. We've seen that already, but like you said, a left-handed batter coming in against a left-arm spinner is a good matchup. Leah Paul has had a good 10 to 12 months for Ireland, so hopefully she can kickstart her innings here and continue the momentum that's been started by Prendergast and Hunter.
It certainly might be something that Ireland just a little concern around in this T20I format. No real scores of note in the 2 T20s, 11 not out and 20 for her against Zimbabwe. The most encouraging thing, though, back bowling a little bit, which is certainly something that gives that bit of flexibility to Gabby Lewis to have that 6th bowling option with her left arm spin. Field certainly a little bit changed. We see all 5 on the offside come up into the 25-yard circle, and that means that it's only going to be 3 in the deep and the short fine leg on the leg side. As Paul immediately finds the fielder, can't get off the mark, gets us to the end of the 9th over. Sandhu makes the breakthrough, and Pakistan dragging the game back in their direction. The score 63-2 now. For these sort of series, Andy, where in theory they're preparatory series for Ireland for that qualifier, what are the goals? Are you still thinking about kind of each and every game? Are you starting to think about matchups for the Netherlands, or what are Ireland trying to achieve from these 3 matches?
It's definitely a bit of both. You want to, as a team, you want to have momentum going into those tournaments, and you get momentum by winning games, and that comes from individual performances, and you have a squad of players going over to these tournaments with confidence that you can beat anyone on their day. So we are in a winning environment or a winning business, so certainly going into those qualifiers, Ireland will want to have as many wins under the belt as possible.
Definitely a growing belief in both the men's and women's teams that when there's full members that come here to Dublin or Belfast or Derry, that it's not about just that kind of marquee day out at all, is it? It's about trying to get wins and trying to find ways to compete. For Ireland, also the boost yesterday, the news of Amy Maguire being passed in terms of her bowling action. That's come out from the ICC. She's been cleared to resume bowling at the international level. Be interesting to see as to when she gets back into Irish colours. Very talented young spinner who went through testing at Loughborough University. Never a nice thing to have to go through, but great news from the Irish perspective for the new head coach, Lloyd Tennant, who's come in and taken up the reins and started with a real bang. Got that nice little bit of a bounce that you often get with a new head coach. I want to ask you about that, Andy. It's something you've been through a couple of times, I'd imagine, the Phil Simmons era into John Bracewell into Graham Ford now into Heinrich Milan. Is that each of the kind of transitions you've been through? What's that like? How do you manage that?
Yeah, it's obviously different. You have different personnel come in with different theories and thoughts on the game from wealth of experience. But I think just having a core group of players that you spend a lot of time with, I was fortunate that I had the same captain throughout that, so kind of things stayed similar. Obviously Gabby's just kind of new into her captaincy, but she'll have her thoughts, and I think that probably speaks more so than maybe what the coach does. And I just think naturally that comes in high performance sport, is you're going to have changes at the top and changes in coaching and personnel, but as long as you have the same core group of players kind of going in the same direction, it's important.
How much crossover is there for people watching and listening on at home between the men's and the women's camps? You're both involved out at the kind of Irish Sports Institute. Is it at Abbottstown in West Dublin?
Yeah, that's where we're based now, in the High Performance Centre. You've nets there, you've the gym there, and all you really need, and we spend a lot of time crossing over with each other.
Good use of the feet from Prendergast, and again the quality of ball striking, very impressive, but unable to get back for the second. She almost did it too well out to the long off field. That facility seems to me to continue to grow in terms of its quality.
Yeah, it does, and the wickets out there are getting better and better as each net kind of comes by, and the curator here, Dale McDonald, is doing a great job out there, and as he is with most of the grounds around the area. But we're very fortunate, and I think it's only going to go from strength to strength.
Nice use of the feet and beats the fielder. All fielders square the wicket up on the offside. It's a diving attempt. Don't think she's really got much on it, and Paul will get her first boundary. It was a critical one, a needed one for Ireland. Gets us to the halfway stage. It's 70-2.
Yeah, I think Leah Paul's come out with really good intent. She obviously hasn't got the ball away just as she would have wanted so far, but she's looked busy. She's come down a couple of times to try to sweep, and she gets her rewards there by just opening the face a bit and hitting it through that infield. There's no sweeper on the offside, so that gives her the freedom to hit it in that gap. And good end to that over, because it was a pretty tidy over up until that point. But a boundary at the end of the over is key for this group.
Ireland doing a really good job at applying a lot of pressure to Pakistan's fielders, both in terms of trying to turn ones into twos, and also the quality of ball striking is definitely putting the pressure on Pakistan in terms of their infielding. That's the second misfield we've seen now that has burst through and resulted in a boundary, as the trial by spin for Ireland will continue. Sandhu comes in to her third. Glorious stroke, probably the shot of the day for me. Prendergast just a half a skip and a jump down the track, gets to the pitch, doesn't try to overhit, and gets 4.
I just think the fact that there's no spin for Sandhu to work with here, and I think Orla Prendergast has appreciated that mid-off is up, so she doesn't have to worry about the ball going past her edge, and she can just play through the line of the ball, and it's quite a comfortable shot, albeit quite a tricky shot in the book. Orla Prendergast is looking really good here, 26 off 20, and is going to hold the key for this batting lineup.
forces a change in the field, Andy, as well, because long off now has to go back, and it means that if Sandhu drops in any way short, every fielder on the offside is up 4 fielders altogether from a short third round to an extra cover. So Prendergast applying that pressure, and that's what she's looking to do, give herself that room outside the leg side to capitalise upon that offside field, but Sandhu follows her very cleverly.
Yeah, Sandhu, to be fair to her, the last over she started with a 4 but pulled it back. I think there was only a single scored off that. And again, she's just using all her guile here.
Look at the comfort that Prendergast has using her feet. It's not something that's easy for those who haven't played the game, is it?
No, it comes naturally to a lot of players. It doesn't come naturally to me as a batter, but it's such a good weapon to have in your armoury, particularly when you play a team with so much spin in it. Naturally, if you play in the subcontinent, you need to have kind of a lot of strings to your bow, but it certainly comes very natural to Orla Prendergast from what we've seen so far. And even Leah Paul in the last over, using her feet, not being hesitant doing it, and that's a credit to the work they do in the background, and that's a lot of time hitting balls and trying it out and having the confidence of their ability to do it.
Yeah, the importance of it in terms of putting any spinner off their length. The last thing you want to allow a spinner to do is get into their rhythm. And again, use of the feet, not quite out of the middle, but long off was up in the circle, so it'll be the long on fielder, the skipper, Fatima Sanu, has to come around to the offside and does the fielding. A little bit of body language from Pakistan. Bowler in particular, not overly happy, but not a lot the captain can do there to keep it to a single.
No, unless she was just a bit wide down there, but whether it was the long barrier, I'm not sure, but it seemed like a fairly comfortable 2, but maybe she was just a bit disappointed about being hit down the ground again.
Still a very young captain, Fatima Sana. He's 23 years of age. It'll be an 8-run over that rounds out the 11th. 78 for 2 now, the score. You think about the direction that the women's game is moving in Ireland, and the kind of positive trajectory. There has been a couple of blows to that, missing out on the Women's T20 World Cup last year, missing out on the ODI World Cup this year, despite such a good performance. You could argue they maybe could have won all 5 of their matches there in Lahore, but you feel that this is a young group that's really going places still?
I certainly think so, and I think the results that I've already spoken about have shown that. I've been in qualifying tournaments where, you know, with losing can become a habit, and a habit that's tough to get out to because the games come thick and fast, and the pressure of all the, you know, the outside noise of having to qualify. But naturally, there's been a couple of changes in the background. Gabby Lewis came into captain last year. Lloyd Tennant has come in as a new coach. So things aren't going to click straight away, but they certainly look like they're going in the right direction. And this summer so far has shown that they are, and these games are going to be vitally important to back that up.
You just give us a sense of what those qualifiers are like. Isabel Joyce and I were describing them as cutthroat and ruthless. Probably that one in Zimbabwe in particular might still rankle with you, being knocked out even before the Super 6 stage.
Yeah, they are. They're tough. Having been through a couple where we've qualified, I think it's just the relief that you get because you build it up so much, and the pressure that comes with it. And it's so important for the game in the country that you want to qualify for these events, and it's the same for the men and women. And I've no doubt that there'll be pressure situations coming up in these qualifiers, but the way the players are playing and the confidence they're showing out in the middle, I've no doubt that they will go well for the girls.
It was a remarkable tournament out in Lahore. You saw that Ireland actually only won 2 games. They lost 3. The first game they lost by 38 runs, but they were 96 for 1, needing 218 to win. They then somehow lost a game to Bangladesh, where Ritu Moni, who hadn't made an international 50, and I think it was over 100 appearances, made 67 not out to get Bangladesh over the line by 2 wickets. And then it was the most incredible match that Ireland actually won by 1 wicket over Scotland to complete their second victory. So it's the pressure environment, isn't it, of those qualifiers. It tends to create incredibly dramatic, highly tense cricket. It's often about which side can hold their nerve as much as which is the better of the actual cricketing teams. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. They are very different to bilateral series and these sort of games. Not that there's no pressure on these games, but certainly the kind of World Cup at the end of these tournaments is so big, and they're so widely watched around the world, and the importance of it are huge.
It was a 6-run defeat as well to West Indies. I forgot about as Prendergast goes big into the leg side. Should just pick up the single, as it's Diana Baig, I think out there does the fielding. Outstanding fielder for Pakistan. Ireland still hovering in and around that sort of 150, 160 on the Wasp. These overs have their own kind of rhythm and flow, don't they, in a T20?
Yeah, they do, and it's just interesting, the ground dimensions. The pockets here are usually the biggest, quite straight, and square aren't that big, so you don't maybe get reward in those pockets as you would the other areas of the ground.
Again, use of the feet from Paul. They're definitely the biggest areas, aren't they? The kind of corner pockets diagonally. Something we saw that West Indies series, straight was where basically every batter was targeting.
Yeah, it was, and you know they're clearly the smallest boundaries on the ground, but you don't want to put away your other strong options like your sweeps and your reverse sweeps and all that sort of stuff. So just interesting to see how this is going to play out, because clearly Ireland are going to try to bat around Orla Prendergast.
Who uses her feet and picks out the fielder straight to the cover. Prendergast has looked so comfortable using her feet, and it's the final delivery of Shamim she was trying to capitalise upon, and picks out extra cover to fall. She gets set, but she'll get no more.
Yeah, the commentator's curse. Debut in the box and first time calling that. It's a shame because she looked so good, looked so composed. She was coming down the wicket really well, so I don't think there's any fault in that. I think maybe did she just try to hit it a bit squarer than usual? Should she have maybe hit it down the ground? We'll get a bit of a better look.
It was actually nice use of the feet. She's probably trying to get it up and over extra cover, but really clever fielding. I think it's the skipper, Fatima Sana, there at extra cover, who does take the catch really well. She's hung right on the edge of the 25-yard circle, and that is a critical breakthrough. Prendergast falls from the final delivery of Shameen Spell, who's going to finish with 1 for 28 from her 4 overs of off spin, and Ireland maybe just in a little spot of bother as Laura Delaney, the former captain, comes to the crease with 12 overs in the books. Might need to readjust their sights to sort of 140 rather than that 160 now.
Yeah, and it's usually a shot you tend to play against a left arm spinner or a leg spinner when you've got a bit of spin to work with and you can just throw your hands at it. Clearly there's not as much spin today, so Orla backed herself to be able to hit it over extra without that spin, but again it was smart fielding. She kind of hung on the rope and took a fairly simple catch. So yeah, it's a bit of a rebuilding block now. You know, Leah Paul's only been in for 10 balls, 8 overs left of the innings, but they're still at a decent rate. And yeah, Wasp says 154. I think anything above 150 is a very competitive score.
Still just the 5 bowlers being used for Pakistan. You'd suspect Diana Baig may well end up bowling 3 of the last 6 overs, so that might be somebody that Ireland could look to target with a little bit of extra pace on the ball. And Sandhu is going to finish her spell. Again, it's hit down into that corner pocket. Aliyah Riaz will do the fielding right in front of our commentary position. Paul will pick up a couple. Both of these batters, rather than being out-and-out boundary hitters, more accumulators, touch players, 1s and 2s we'll see in this partnership. Yeah,
I think so. I think Leah Paul's strike rate over the last kind of couple of years has been in and around the 106 mark, so that's pretty good, don't get me wrong. But there will be times where she'll have to accelerate. Just drop short of long on. But yeah, I think you've got to rebuild for maybe an over or 2 here, but still look to hit your boundaries. Laura Delaney's clearly got a lot of experience and she's probably been in most situations as a batter, so we'll be able to deal with it. But like I said, you want to continue the momentum that you've started by having such a good first 6 and make sure that by the end of the 20th over, your fielders and bowlers can go out there and know that they've got a decent score on the board.
Usually very good at accumulating runs right from the off is Laura Delaney, but Pakistan, they know her very well, so just getting a bit of a squeeze on, and particularly those offside fielders being asked to come maybe a yard or 2 closer. Can they find a few dots here just to apply that pressure, that fulcrum back on to the Irish middle order? Straight to that cover fielder. Yeah, for Ireland, probably a tricky position now. Don't want to lose a 4th or a 5th anytime soon.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if they bring pace on from the far end. I think 2 relatively new batters with that bit of nip we saw in the first couple of overs, it might be a good ploy to try to nick another one out.
It does look to me as though they're going to stick with those 5 bowlers. Again, it's the accuracy that Sandhu provides alongside Sadia Iqbal, 2 incredibly impressive left arm spinners. Just rarely bowl a bad ball, do they? Yeah, and I think Laura will be disappointed there. That looked like a bit of a drag down, no spin, that offside field up. It was an opportunity to get one away. As a batter, you're always looking for that early boundary, and that was certainly maybe an opportunity for Laura Delaney. 4 consecutive dots will round out a fine spell from Nashra Sandhu. She'll finish with 1 for 21. Pakistan just pulling things back. It's 86 for 3.
Thanks to Andrew Leonard, who gets a well-deserved break now. And we'll just take a quick look at these bowling figures. Andrew, what do you make of those? Fatma Sana still has 2.
Yeah, they clearly seem to be holding Sana back, but I thought there was maybe an opportunity to bring her in with a couple of new batters at the crease. Clearly they're seeing something out there that we're not. The spinners have, like Lenny said, have been very accurate and have picked up those couple of wickets without actually spinning it. And the Irish batters have felt like they need to force their hand a bit, but I still think they're fairly well set here to get 150 plus 160, and I think they'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, it's a pivotal moment, isn't it, in the chase, or sorry, in the run set, because Diana Baig comes back on. She's only bowled 1 over, only 5 bowlers used, as Lenny's mentioned a few times. So when you only got 5 bowlers as opposed to 6, does it make it that bit more like paint by numbers? You know what overs you're going to bowl. Does that maybe, do you think, help the bowlers because they know at what stage they're going to have to bowl at, and they've got their plans?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to have that 6th bowler so you can play around with it, because things will change and some teams will get away from you. You might need that just change and someone that hasn't bowled yet.
Down the pitch from Leah Paul, it's going to fall outside the ring, just about managed to fade it away from mid-off. She thought she was in with a chance there, Leah Riaz, but just about got enough on it. Leah Paul looking to continue going, and it's actually a no ball, signalled by square leg umpire Rhodey Black. That must be for fielders outside the ring. Who's the guilty party, or was somebody forgotten to be brought inside? It's Sadia Iqbal at 45 being brought in.
She's cheekishly running back into the ring, but she's right in front of us and we've spotted it. This would be a great opportunity now for Leah to just release the shackles for this ball. I love her intent, first ball, to run down the wicket and try to hit the seamer over the top. It sends a bit of a message. It'd be interesting to see what shot she pulls out here for the free hit.
We did see the short ball early on from Diana Baig. Goes for that. It's comically short, though. Leah Paul getting in a position to help that over the keeper. But she's one of their best fielders, is Sidra Amin. Brilliant pickup and throw in, keeps it to 1.
Yeah, it looked like it could have been a slower ball as well. There was absolutely no pace in it. I thought when Leah had hit it that it would go for 4, but it barely made it to the boundary, and they only got the single off it. But yeah, smart bowling. Not a bad option from Leah. The fine leg was up, but brings Laura Delaney back on strike.
Yeah, great battle between, just a mini battle, that one. Just that single delivery between batter and bowler. I'd say probably Diana Baig came out the better of it after the no ball. She's coming up against Delaney, 0 from 4 so far. And gets it right in her hitting arc. That's exactly where Laura Delaney wants it. Short, wide, help through the covers for her opening boundary as Delaney's innings gets underway.
Yeah, it's the sort of shot that just gets you into the game and you feel like you're seeing it really well. Just dropped short by Baig, slightly wide, a good bit wide, and it's a bit of a back punch cut shot there that with no fielder out in the offside, it's a bit of a freebie for Laura to get her innings up and running.
Yeah, guilty as a bowler there because you've got the cover fielder up. The team is trying to put the pressure on Laura Delaney coming in at number 5 and just got the line wrong. I don't mind the length, but they've had to drop cover out now. So Laura Delaney now has cover out and 3 out on the leg side. A third coming up in the ring. Has to bowl straighter, does. Won't beat that fielder at 45. Laura Delaney has a change in role because she's going to move down to 5. I was speaking to her before the series and she said that it's a different kind of position because sometimes you have to come in really early and sometimes you're coming in right at the end, so you have to be ready for all eventualities. How difficult is that, do you think?
I think the middle order in T20 cricket is a very difficult position to bat. Fortunately, I haven't had to do it too much, but a lot of the times you're coming in this situation and you have to put, a bit of impetus into the innings, and that can be very hard to do. It comes naturally to a lot of people, and if you look around the world in all the T20 leagues, a lot of the big money is going to those players who come into the middle order and just change the game, and it's a hard thing to kind of learn. It kind of is natural to people.
Round the wicket, maybe just rolled the fingers over Diana Baig, expecting Leah Paul to come at her. Hell, in the women's game, it's probably even more difficult to come by because there's not as much power not as much natural power in as many females as say. Lots of guys can go in the middle order and feel like they've got the strength to clear the ropes, but for the women's game, only 4 allowed outside the ring. It might be a little bit more about manipulation. Leopold looking to manipulate this for a boundary to try and get their innings back up and running. Really good. Yeah, really good manipulation. Beats the fielder Sadia Iqbal in 45. She had been the player who was on the boundary and was the 5th outside. She is looking like she's in a bit of strife as well, which won't be happy viewing for any Pakistan supporters, but Leopold gets another boundary and this is becoming an expensive over.
Yeah, it wasn't a great ball. I actually initially thought Leah got across the stumps a bit to manipulate it, but she's just tucked one down the leg side. And like you said there, just as the ball creeps over the boundary, it looks like Iqbal's pulled up, but she hasn't called for the physio or anything, so she's maybe just a bit of cramp. But yeah, nice shot from Leah. Just a lovely deft touch. Didn't have to do too much, but put the baton at the ball. Had enough pace to get down to the boundary for her.
Yeah, she knew that Diana Baig was going to have to bowl in at her stumps. 3 fielders out in the leg side, 45 in on the single. Gets down to lift it over. Brilliant again from Paul. Back-to-back boundaries, and she's toying with Diana Baig. And what had started out with a no ball finishes with another expensive over. 100 comes up with that 4. Ireland back up and running. 14 overs gone, 103 for 3.
Yeah, 16 from the over. And this is the pace we were talking about earlier. There was pace on this ball that allows Leopold to just put a bat in it. And she doesn't have to do a whole lot. She just lifts it over 45. There was no fielder out in the boundary, and it's clearly a strong shot for her. And she didn't have success with it at the start of the over, but back to her skill set, and she got the rewards. And 103 for 3 is a lovely platform here for Ireland to kick on and get a really competitive score.
A quiet over the previous over for Ireland. They really needed to do something to get things back up and running. They've done that with that Diana Baig over. So it's 6 overs to go. They've crossed the 100 mark, and in T20s, you're looking at kind of last 4 or 5 overs, 10 and over maybe, if you've got 2 set batters. But they're going to be coming up against Sadia Iqbal. She has 2 overs left. Yet to take a wicket, but she is the #1 T20I bowler in the world. Starts with 1 outside off. And Laura Delaney and Leopold probably could have run through pretty easily there. They're caught in the middle of the pitch. Fielder up in cover. So brilliant fielding from Nasha Sandhu. Keeps it to a dot.
Yeah, slightly short and wide ball that Laura would have liked to have got through the covers, but it wasn't the best bit of fielding in the world, but it warranted a high five from Sadia Iqbal that maybe slows the over up a bit. But again, Laura not too far away from getting going here.
I think that's why she bowled that one a little bit shorter and outside off stump. Laura Delaney just love to come down the pitch at spinners. They generally know that. There'll be plenty of information on Delaney. She's the most experienced Ireland player by a long shot. But Sadia Iqbal, I think for when you're coming up against someone like Leah Paul, who likes to sweep, especially a left-hander, the only left-hander in the lineup, she's a different prospect. Yeah,
the offside is up again here for Leopold. I'm actually really enjoying watching her bat here. It seems like every ball is an event, and she wants to score as many as she can off that ball. And
gets the reverse pull out. Well, I was just about to mention this shot to you, Andy Bell-Burney, because she's added this to her game in the last few years. The grip is interesting. She gets power, and she is a good hockey player, so it's almost like she's taken the hockey sweep out, and she gets another boundary dealing in them at the moment.
Yeah, it didn't look like a traditional reverse sweep at all, but she gets in a really good position, and that's what it's about. It's about getting a strong base, keeping your head as still as possible, and just making contact as well as you can. And it's a great shot, and with that offside field up, it's clearly it's a bit of a free shot for her as long as she connects with it.
Yeah, it's something that she added to her game a few years ago, the reverse sweep. Now she's looking to go down the ground. Chance and taken. Well, that's exactly what Pakistan will have wanted. The set batter, the batter who was manipulating the field in Leopold, looks for 1 boundary too many, and we called it already. Sidra Amin, the best fielder probably, her and Diana Baig in the Pakistan team, settles herself, takes a pretty good catch, and Sadia Iqbal strikes.
Yeah, Sidra Amin didn't look like dropping that at all. It comes to an end. A pretty good innings from Leopold there, 28 off 19. Striker rate of 147 is really impressive. But like I said, she played the ball so well that ball before, but again with just a bit more pace off it, and she just couldn't get enough batting it and spooned it to Amin, who takes a pretty simple catch.
Yes, perplexing decision to play that shot because it's much longer straight boundary. Leopold didn't look like clearing the straights at any stage, so she might look back and wish she'd continued manipulating it around and playing her reverse sweeps, but it brings her club teammate and best friend Rebecca Stokel out to the middle, and she's in this role at number 6 because she does have the levers and the power to clear the ropes.
Yeah, and it'll be slightly trickier now with 2 right-hand batters at the crease. We've seen a lot of left-arm spin today already. It was nice having the left-hand, right-hand combination, but it's a good opportunity here for Rebecca Stokel with 6 overs to go to again bring some momentum to this innings, and it just started going again there, and then wickets fall, and that's just the game of T20, and that's how it can go. But yeah, we'll see how Rebecca can deal with this now.
Great opportunity for the middle order for Ireland. A lot's been relied on the top order. Fielders out on the leg side, even though she's only just new to the crease. And yeah, she's had plenty of experience. Rebecca Stokel, been around the team since I think it's 2018. She was first picked in a squad, but kind of yet to find her exact position in this lineup. Sometimes used at as an opener, sometimes in the middle order. How difficult do you think it is as a player if you're not? I mean, she seems to be nailed on the middle order now. That's changed a little bit over the years.
Yeah, it is, and I think we saw with the Zimbabwe T20 series that she was given an opportunity at the top of the order in that last T20. But again, I think all batters want to have their position and get comfortable with their position and kind of make it their own, if you like. And as we just see the scorecard here, a lot of good starts from Ireland. Obviously, Gabby Lewis, like we spoke about, got a really good delivery early on, but 37 off 30, 29, 26, 28 off 19. Some really good starts. If one of those pushes on for a 50-plus score, you're in a great position. But it just shows that it's clearly quite a good wicket. Everyone, bar Gabby's got in, and the opportunities are there to score. The bad balls have been bowled, but they've also been pretty tidy with their lines and lengths.
And Diana Baig continues from the LP Hughes end. She'll be delighted that Leopold's no longer out in the middle. She's hit for a few boundaries in her last over. They're just making sure the field is right. Fine leg, quite square out there. It's Sidra Min, and square leg as well out on the boundary. Cover and third, the other 2 out. Short and wide outside off. Good clever bowling, just making sure she gets hit to her boundary fielders.
Yeah, with the
slight bit of extra pace.
Yeah, with the 2 fielders straight in the ring and fine leg and third man back deep square and a sweep in the offside, that short pitch bowling seems to be the way they're thinking here. We saw it in the first ball there. It was short, probably a bit wider than she would have liked, but clearly with the 2 fielders up straight, it's going to be a plan to go short into the wicket.
And not as many bowlers in the women's game that can bowl to this kind of plan with mid-off and mid-on up. Delaney taking on the fielders. They are right on the ring there. Extra cover. We saw the catch from Orla Prendergast's shot. She is very good at that over extra cover, but just didn't probably try and hit it hard enough. It looked like she was surprised when the catch was taken. Yeah,
I think again it was quite slow, and you've got to feel like you have to put momentum into the ball almost. And like I said, it's clearly not spinning yet, and whether that was part of the thinking of the shot, I'm not sure, but.
Rebecca Stokel
tight
will get home. It looks like hit and run type stuff, the pressure being put on Pakistan. There have been moments of really good fielding, but Ireland obviously backing themselves to take on the fielders and force them to try and hit the stumps. One of their best fielders bowling. I always feel for fielders when they're the best fielder in the team and then they have to bowl. It must be very frustrating, like Orla Prendergast and she's bowling. It's like, why can't you do what I can do in the outfield?
Well, I've never been a good fielder or a good bowler, so I've never had that issue.
Well, I won't ask you that opinion. Just a little bit of seam away from Diana Baig. I'll have to check with someone else. Maybe Andrew Leonard can give us an insight into what that's like.
Fielding to his bowling is certainly challenging. But these overs are kind of creeping up on Ireland a bit here. We're into the 16th now, still 112 on the board, but before you know it, we're into the last couple of overs, and almost that sense of urgency can create a bit of panic as well. So it's important that they can kind of tick along here as best they can. Shot.
Down the ground, 2 full from Diana Baig, just guilty. Laura Delaney hits the first 6 of the day. She got the length she wanted, hung back, got the bat right through it. And Delaney, who was under a little bit of pressure, 7 from 11, catches up with just one shot.
Yeah, and it's exactly the ball you want as a batter. It's with those two fielders up, it's right up there. All she has to do is play through the line of the ball. I don't know why she's running, because it's such a good shot. You don't need to run for them, but like I said, that's the sort of impetus you need to put in, and shots like that will certainly help.
Bit of adrenaline maybe pushed her into running. She just wanted to maybe say something to Diana Baig, who corrects her length, but the single will come about in the last ball. So that's 6, really ruining that over for Diana Baig. She's been expensive, only 3 overs, so she'll have to probably bowl another one. 16 gone, 119 for 4. And like I said, just the 5 bowlers used. 2 left for Fatima Sana, who's been warming up vociferously, but it will be her who comes on. No surprise there. She's going to have to close out from the City end, and Sadia Iqbal and Diana Baig, you'd imagine, will close things out from the LP Hughes end. So 119 with 4 overs to go, and just with one shot, it's amazing, isn't it, how 1-6 can change the complexion of an innings.
Yeah, it is, and as a batter, it's something that you take a lot of confidence from. Like, I know there's only 4 overs left here, but Laura will certainly feel like she's seeing the ball well enough that she can manipulate things. Interesting, the Fatima Sana is coming from this end. It's a slightly bigger boundary straight, and she's clearly saved for the death, so I thought she might have been given the tough rovers with the short side.
It's chipped over mid-wicket. Rebecca Stokel will come back for the second. Really good between the wickets. And frustration for Fatima Sana, you could see on the screen, but maybe just they haven't thought about the dimensions here in Clontarf, because pretty much nailed on in that pocket. It's 2. They've switched the fielders, but I think that's a little bit unfair on the fielder.
Yeah, it's public shaming. It's never a nice thing when that happens. It's happened to me a couple of times. Fortunately, I've done a lot of captaining, so I don't have to. I actually have to do
you have
that.
To publicly shame other people.
Yeah, there's no hiding from that. I think it's just an anticipation thing. You've got to be off the rope, and if it gets cleared over you, then on you. But you've got to be off the rope and anticipate that they're going to be pushing for those twos in the big pockets.
Well, she's found the fielder straight away who's been put down there, and she's taken the catch. So it was a good change in field. Laura Delaney couldn't have hit that straighter to her if she had tried. Gul Feroza was the one who was a judge to be able to marshal that area. And Delaney, again, an Irish batter, just looking like they're really getting the measure of things. Hits one straight to a fielder. And Pakistan's fielding has been standing up to the pressure. Ireland 121 for 4.
Yeah, it's a real shame there. Laura Delaney had just hit that 6 in the previous over. Looked like she was motoring, but Feroza had to catch that. She made the change. She wanted to be in that position, and there was no hesitation. It was a really good catch, really smart catch. But that's great leadership and great skill to make that change and say, I want to be in the hot spots and take those catches.
I said 121 for 4. Of course, it's 5, but I love that angle that we got there, because from our angle it just looked like she'd taken a tumble for no good reason, but it was a little bit lower. Those ones can be tricky. Ava Canning comes out into the middle at number 7. She's been elevated, a real bowler who's turning into an all-rounder, and in a tricky run chase for Ireland against Zimbabwe in the last one-day international in their previous series, when it was looking a little bit niggly, she managed to hit a 6. She can hit with power, but she's got plenty of time out here with Rebecca Stokel. 2 tall batters right there in the middle, so it can be quite difficult to bowl them, can't it?
Yeah, it can. Pretty good start. I'm always interested going back to that catch if Aliyah Riaz was a small part of her hoping that the catch wouldn't be taken, having been switched, but it wasn't to be the case. But yeah, like you say, 2 tall batters. We've got 3.5 overs left that Ireland need to kick on.
Very good, straight down the ground, as you'd imagine. Both these batters, Ava Canning in particular, that would be her strength. Rebecca Stokel probably more of a rounded batter, so a little bit more adaptable. But I think for Ireland, it's just, what way would you be looking at it? Try and get a run of ball and then hit boundaries, or be just thinking boundaries, especially when you've just lost a wicket?
Yeah, I think you've got to think boundaries from the off, and if it's not in your area, then you've got to, okay, what's the worst case scenario? Then a single is the case.
Full and straight, and the fielder in the deep anticipates well. Gul Feroza had been put there as a better option, and she's taken the catch, and she's stopped 1 turning into a 2. So the public shaming
Yeah,
has
there's
worked.
no hands in the air from Sahana there. Another good bit of anticipation, but a nice shot from Rebecca Stokel. And I think certainly with that shorter boundary straight at the far end, it's a good opportunity for them to target that side. But like I said, boundary's got to be the first option. Worst case scenario, get down the other end, and that's how you tick the scoreboard over as best possible.
Short again, fielder comes under it and an easy catch, and the catches have been coming thick and fast for Ireland. The length was very good against Ava Canning in particular. It's Amin once more who, she's taken a couple of pretty straightforward catches today, but they can always be put down, so she'll be a tick in the book. Ava Canning, elevated to number 7 in recent times, goes pretty quickly for just 1, and Ireland maybe just a foot on the brakes now from Pakistan, 123 for 6.
Yeah, and this is just how your innings can stall. Wickets are so important in this game, particularly in the shortest format. And, at one stage we're looking at 160 and how can we get there? And now you're looking at, okay, we've 150 minimum, how best can we get there? But we're 6 wickets, Ireland are 6 wickets down now. And Jane Maguire comes to the crease and you've got to go straight away. You've got 3 overs to bat. Probably look to get as much strike to Rebecca Stokel as you can, who's the kind of recognised batter out of the two. But a spinner on from this top end with that short boundary, I think Rebecca Stokel's got to, like I said, face as many of the 18 balls as she can.
Yeah, and she's got to take the game on as well, doesn't she? She can't go into her shell just because the wickets have been falling. Does try and take on the field straight. Jane Maguire will try and come back, but as we've said on a number of occasions, it is the shorter boundary, so very little opportunity unless there's a misfield, which there isn't. Nashra Sandhu in the right place, and I think they've done that. I mean, we did joke about the field being changed, but they're not worried about putting the best fielders in the hot spots. Pakistan, they don't worry about saving people's feelings, and even the fielder who was brought in, Aliyah Riaz, didn't seem too perturbed, which is probably a really good thing for the team in general.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just really good batting there from Jane Maguire. Facing the number 1 bowler in the world in T20 cricket, she's just knocked it down the ground to give the strike back to her senior batter.
Stokel eyeing up the straight boundaries, comes down again. Just good lengths from Iqbal. She knows the danger, trying to make sure she doesn't give arms to Stokel. A good start to this, the 18th over. Jane Maguire now, she's handed the strike over. She sees Stokel is not finding it any easier to hit the boundary, so is it time for her to have a little bit of a dip? Dances down, and I think that was definitely the thought. I think you could probably run there, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's always tricky at this time of the innings. You don't want to keep losing wickets, but like I've said a couple of times already, they've got to find a way to get Rebecca facing as many balls as she can, but it's smart bowling. That's why she's the best in the world. And
nice little bit of shape drift in there, but the job is done on the second time of asking from Jane Maguire. Big ball this.
Yeah, and this is kind of the art of batting. I think, does Rebecca just take her easy single down and go, I'm going to face the next over and try to face the whole over, or is she happy with just getting a 1 and taking the scoreboard over?
Well, she looks to take on straight when it wasn't really there to hit. She gets the single, which I think is the best of both worlds. 18 gone. Ireland 128 for 6. It's amazing, isn't it? Because we've been seeing the game ebb and flow, wickets falling, Ireland looking like they're going to be on top, and then Pakistan seeming to have an answer every time. But 12 balls could change the look of this at the halfway point quite a lot. A few wickets or dot balls for Pakistan, and they'll go into the break with the momentum. Ireland, if they can get some boundaries, get up maybe up above 140, that might be the target, up towards 150.
Yeah, and momentum is the key word that a lot of change rooms talk about. You want to take that into the dressing room with you. It's a 15-minute turnaround. You come in and you've got 140, 145 on the board. You've had a really good last 2 overs. Flip it, it can work in the opposite favour.
Sana continues. It's heave leg side. Fielder will have to do a lot of work, and too much work for her. That's the power of Rebecca Stokel. I think she'll be disappointed in the boundary. Nashra Sandhu, she thought that she had more time, but there's the first of those boundaries that Ireland will be looking for. Stokel in on the action.
Yeah, just veered down leg side by Fatima, and all Stokel had to do was just clip. It's a lovely shot, clipped it over mid-wicket. They've pushed that mid-wicket now to square leg, and that deep square leg has come round to more of a cow corner just to protect that boundary. But a great start to the over from Stokel.
A much better plan, because she's looking like she's wanting to bowl full and in at the pads here, Fatima Sana. Steps across, does Stokel, so it'll just be a single. She was eyeing up that square leg, wasn't she? Probably just threw the shot a little bit too early.
Yeah, and I find it's a hard shot to play if you're not down on one knee. There wasn't enough pace in it for it, but like I said, a good start to this over 5 from it. I think it's quite important that Jane Maguire gets down the other end, that the fielders in the ring are on the ring, so there is that opportunity to almost just hit and run. If she gets a bad ball, back herself to hit it for a boundary, of course.
She's good kind of to mid-wicket, down the ground as well, but she might be thinking just get a single because a cover, fine leg, mid-wicket and long on or out. In at the pads, and she does hit it kind of wide of long on, and I don't think, oh well, they will come back for the second. Rebecca Stokel backing her partner, and frustration for Pakistan. Nothing worse than when you think it's a nailed on single.
Yeah, runs are runs, and you know, we spoke about maybe just getting Rebecca Stokel on strike, but I think it was a really good shot and good running as well. So Jane Maguire clearly shows that she can do a job, and she backs herself. So these are vital runs going into the last couple of hours.
2 runs to Gulf-Rosa as well. Somewhere Leah Riaz at square leg is thinking, that looks an awful lot like what happened.
I don't think they were expecting the 2. I wasn't expecting the 2, so there you go.
And through. That's the danger. Really good execution from Fatima Sana. The Yorker gets under the bat of Jane Maguire, who's looking to accelerate, and maybe that's the mistake from Stokel. Would she have survived that delivery? We'll never know. Jane Maguire goes for 4 from 5. Ireland 135 for 7.
It's a good ball in any cricket, no matter what the level. An in-swinging Yorker, 9 times out of 10 is hard to get away. And it was a too good a ball for Jane Maguire. 4 off 5, and Arlene Kelly walks to the crease now, hopefully with a few runs in her pocket. Yeah, like I said, I think they took the 2 the previous ball. We weren't sure whether it was the right option, but Fatima showing all her class and quality here. Just dipping it in and right in the block hole. Can't do anything about that.
And maybe that's just a little bit of experience lacking from Jane Maguire, not recognising a really good ball and digging it out. Still looking to hit with power when the option really wasn't there. Not a bad option at number 9. I'm not sure why Arlene Kelly has been pushed down to number 9. For me, she should be at number 7. Maybe because she's not as quick between the wickets. That's the only thing, because she has boundary hitting ability. She can work the ball around. Works that one. That's almost the same delivery, but she's recognised it and dug it out. Stokel coming back for the second. Oh dear.
Oh, it looks out.
Looks out
Given
from our
not
angle.
out. Bowler absolutely livid. Rolly Black says no.
How, as a bowler, can you see where the batter is? That's not good from Fatima Sana, I have to say.
There is a lot of teapots out there.
Yeah.
They're not happy with that one.
I don't know if she's annoyed with the umpire or the fielding. Let's go with the fielding, because she can't see where
doesn't
Rebecca
like the
Stokel is.
She's shown it all day. She's not happy with her fielders. We'll have a closer look at this. It's a turn and go from Rebecca Stokel. Head down. Decent throw. Ooh.
Yeah, and she
We're
looks
lucky
like she
we have
thinks-
another view of it, but
She looks like she thinks she's out, and for Rolly Black, it's so often when the bowler takes it, it's not out.
it's in the book.
Straight down the ground. Arlene Kelly is so good in that area, finds the gap and gets the boundary to close out that Fatima Sana over. The captain won't be happy. She's gone for 2 boundaries in the over, 13 all told. Does take the wicket, but this is expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say the perfect scenario because it gives Rebecca Stokel the last over, but Arlene Kelly's come in and she scored 6 off 2 balls, so she's shown she can do the damage as well. But certainly 141 for 7, you hope that they can get to 150 and kind of run off the pitch and be ready to try to defend it as best as possible. But yeah, really good end to that over.
Yeah, I wonder, that's Arlene Kelly for me. She can hit well down the ground. Like I said, she's not as quick between the wickets. Would that be why you think she's last over or 2? Just hit boundaries, you're not going to run 2s and 3s, and the other 2 you're working with the number 6 a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's certainly a question that can be asked, but Arlene has shown in those 2 balls that she looks a far better batter than 9. But I think that happens in international cricket, and with teams there are the bottom order is always hard to juggle because they usually have 4 or 5 balls come in and play, but she certainly started this innings really well.
Big. This flies off the edge. Is it going to be another catch? I think it's Fatima Sana underneath it. Well, if you don't like the fielding, do it yourself. She's taken 2 catches. Again, another easy one. Rebecca Stokel looking to hit that leg side. And she wanted to face the whole of the last over. She's only going to face that 1-12 from 10 for her. One boundary in it. Probably not had the innings that she would have wanted coming in at number 6 for Ireland. 5 balls to go. Ireland are 141 for 8.
Yeah, and it's a shame with the new rules in the last couple of years that the new batter will be on strike. Previously it would have been Arlene on strike, but yeah, steeple and catch, but pretty comfortable there. And it's a shame. I think Rebecca Stoker played quite well there, and she ran really well between the wickets. But 12 off 10 isn't a bad knock, and she's given a bit of impetus to this Irish batting lineup.
Really unselfish, I think. Rebecca Stoker, Cara Murray out at number 10, but she took a lot of twos when she could have just looked to get the strike and try and hit boundaries herself, Rebecca Stoker. But as you said, runs on the board is what she went for. Cara Murray coming fresh off a player of the match performance in the NC's Women's Cup competition. Sees her team into the semi-finals of the All-Ireland T20s, Warringstown. But over extra cover tends to be her area. Cow corner as well.
Shot.
Yeah, that's her. That's exactly her.
What a
direct
throw.
hit. Fatima Sana catch and then a run out. Arlene Kelly cannot get home, looking to get the single, sent back by Murray, and Pakistan just keep taking wickets. That's how they've been able to keep a lid on this Ireland batting lineup. Brilliant fielding for her. 2 wickets and 2 balls for Pakistan. Ireland 141 for 9. The exciting Kelly goes for just 6 from 2 with that one boundary.
Yeah, and I said good shot, but it was straight at the fielder and absolutely nailed the one stump she had to aim at. An easy decision. Arlene Kelly couldn't even get close to getting back, and this is the momentum we were talking about, bringing it into the innings with you. And 2 wickets and 2 balls is just stalling this Ireland innings a bit.
She actually hit it too well. If she'd hit it poorly, they could have scampered through for single, but nice connection from Cara Murray. And also the nice little bounce up. Good take from Fatima Sana. Those ones never easy. Just skidding through off the artificial surface, but she managed to gather it and throw down the stumps. That's why she's such an exciting cricketer, batting, bowling and fielding. Lara McBride, the new face in the Ireland lineup, comes out at number 11. And, well, I've said it a few times, but Lara McBride traditionally was an opening batter. So she's probably not a T20 batter, 50 over opening batter, and one of the coolest heads going around. Gabby Lewis has spoken about it. She's at the non-strikers end. Team hat-trick. Good plan from Diana Baig in at Cara Murray's pads. And this is a big comeback over for her because she's gone for 34 in the first 3 overs. She'd be delighted to only go for a couple here and just save her figures ever so much.
Yeah, and we were talking at the start of this over how 150 could be attainable. Now 3 balls left. I think you're just trying to scrape to 145 and anything plus that as a bonus.
Bat on ball. Cara Murray backs away and the fielder is out at long on, so it will be a single. No 2 for Lara McBride.
Buzzers.
Oh dear. It's at the strike oh dear, terrible calling from Ireland, and another wicket falls. Ireland will be bowled out. Not a good decision from Ireland to run the second there. The ball hadn't travelled far enough off the deflection, and it's been really good comeback from Pakistan. Ireland were 109 for 4 at 15 overs, and they've lost 6 wickets with 2 balls remaining. Disappointing for Ireland going in at the break. And you talk about momentum, Pakistan have it all.
Yeah, I think it's a cruel way to end. I love buzzers, but there was never a 2 there. And like we spoke about, I think at the start of the innings, 142, you're in the game. I think with the start they had in that power play, they would have liked more, but certainly the bowlers can take a lot of confidence going into the second innings with how Pakistan went about it. I thought they fielded pretty well, apart from a couple of things in the field coming off the boundary and stuff like that. But I think Pakistan will be happy with their work. They won the toss, put Ireland in, and have bowled them out, and that is so important. They bowled them out for 143, and they'll be definitely confident that they can go out and chase this.
So Pakistan going in at the break, bowling Ireland out, and they'll be pleased with how they've come back strong. Have a look at the batting lineup for Ireland, and plenty of starts. Amy Hunter in particular impressive with how she manipulated things. 37 from 30 for her, 20s as well for Prendergast and Paul, who was probably the pick of the batters in the middle order. Just 19 deliveries for that 28. Delaney and Stokel both getting going as well, but in the end, the tail didn't really wag as Pakistan put the pressure on at the end. Partnerships at the top. Hunter dominated that partnership of 18 before Lewis got a real cracker from Fatima Sana. Hunter and Prendergast went about their business well before Prendergast found the fielder. And then plenty of small partnerships, Prendergast and Paul, and then Paul and Delaney. But the tail, as I said, just couldn't really get things going. Stokel losing too many partners and then getting out herself. Pakistan bowlers, just the 5 used. We've mentioned quite a lot. Fatima Sana, the captain, the pick of them. 4 wickets for her in her 4 overs, and good economy rate as well. Nashra Sandhu just took the 1 wicket, but she was very economical, just 5.25 runs per over in her 4. Diana Bay coming back well in her last over. She'd been expensive in the first 3, but she got the 1 wicket and 2 run-outs in her final over to save things a little bit, but she was the most expensive. So we'll take a very, very short break, but we'll be back with some analysis in just a couple of minutes' time. Make sure you don't go anywhere, because we'll be joined by Andrew Leonard and Andrew Balbirnie to take a look back on that innings, and I look forward to the run chase in between the innings. We'll see you then.
I like trying new sports. I like smashing the ball. We got a t-shirt, a bag, a bat and a ball. It's really, really fun. Play with your friends, have fun, and also get to learn new things.
Seconds, degrees, millimeters. The smallest margin can make the biggest difference. At CERTA, we're committed to finding every efficiency, every edge to deliver cleaner, greener energy. That's why we're proud to support Ireland's women's cricket team as they continue to push the boundaries, and why we're committed to nurturing the next generation of talent, helping them to find their edge. CERTA. Find your edge.
It's Wicket. It's cricket for girls aged 12 to 15. It's Wicket. Try out batting, bowling and scoring runs. Try it out with your friends. You'll love it. It's Wicket. Find out more and register now.
Well, welcome back to Castle Avenue here in Clontarf for this first of a 3-match Ireland versus Pakistan women's T20I series. We've seen a really fascinating first innings. It's ebbed and flowed plenty, and despite some good efforts, particularly from Amy Hunter, Orla Prendergast and Leah Paul, Ireland have to be satisfied with just 142 all out from their 20 overs, meaning they'll need to bowl and field really well in the second innings. Andrew Leonard here alongside Andrew Balbirnie, the current Ireland men's test captain, who's joining us on the commentary panel for the first time for all 3 of these games. Andy, great to have you with us. Kind of strange first innings. Pakistan were put under plenty of pressure throughout, but Ireland might be a bit dissatisfied with that total of 142.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was a lot of good starts from a lot of the top order batters. You probably needed one of them to kick on and get a 60 or 70 for Ireland to get a 150 plus score, but it shows signs that the wicket is probably a good wicket, that 3 or 4 of them were able to get in quite easily. Pakistan will be pretty good, happy with how they clawed it back there, but I think 1-4-3 on the board, you're always in the game, but you've got to take those early wickets.
Tell us about the approach from Pakistan. 12 overs of spin, but the star of the show was Fatima Sana with the ball, 4 for 26 for her.
Yeah, absolutely. She showed up front that she could get a bit of movement out of the wicket. The spinners bowled really well, good control, varied their pace quite well, which the Ireland batters found a bit tricky. It didn't spin. We saw no real spin there today, or in the first innings. So I think Ireland will have to bowl well here if they want to defend that total. It really felt like an innings where Ireland kind of kept trying to get going, but felt like they lost wickets at all the key parts. 45 runs they put on for the second wicket, Amy Hunter and Orla Prendergast, but after that, every time a partnership started, the wicket crucially then fell. Yeah, and every new batter came in and we could see them score boundaries quite freely, and then that boundary would be followed up by a wicket, and we spoke about momentum in the commentary tent, and Pakistan have taken that momentum in with them. So Ireland are going to have to work really hard in that first 6 in the power play to try to grab that back.
Yeah, the star of the show for Ireland was probably Amy Hunter with her 37 off 30, but I think Leah Paul really impressed you, the kind of immediate impetus that she added to her game, lots of sweeps and some power shots too.
Yeah, both of them did. I think, we know what Amy Hunter's about, but I think the way she started her innings, manipulated the field really well, played her sweeps really well. And yeah, Leah Paul came out and used her feet from ball one, and she played some really impressive shots. I think both of them will be quite disappointed, and Orla Prendergast, that they maybe didn't get that 50 or 60 that I spoke about. But yeah, their batter's in good nick, and they're showing that out there today.
Talk to me about the Irish order. You look at that kind of top six, it's pretty much nailed on, you know where everyone's going to go. But then 7 through 11, it's all a bit bits and pieces. Arlene Kelly was hidden away down at number 9. No scores of any note, 1, 4, 6 and 1 from the lower order. Would you like more from them?
I think you always want more from them, but it's a very hard time to come in and bat. Fundamentally, their skill is to go out and take wickets, but you want them to contribute with the bat down the order. There will be days where your top order don't come off, and that will happen, particularly in T20 cricket, playing around the world in different conditions. But yeah, I think you want to get those extra 10, 15 runs from your lower order, and then you've got 160, 170 on the board, and you'll be very confident with.
What about Pakistan's fielding effort? It felt like kind of a bit of a mixed bag, didn't it? A couple of missed fields that were allowed through to the boundary. A standing run out from Fatima San, who seemed to be everywhere with the ball and in the field, and then another run out to go with it at the end. Overall, for a first game of the tour, will they be satisfied, or improvement to be had for them?
I'd say they will be. There was a couple of run outs there, particularly at the end. You could tell from how the bowlers were getting frustrated with the fielding that they clearly have quite high standards. This isn't the easiest ground to field on. It's quite bobbly, bit of a slope coming down this end, but yeah, I think first game out you want to take your catches and get your run outs, and they did that.
Okay, we're at the halfway stage here, this first match of 3 between Ireland and Pakistan. If you're just joining us, Ireland have posted 142, bowled out 3 deliveries shy of their 20 overs. Who would you say is ahead of the game at the halfway stage? We kept talking about that kind of 150 marker maybe being par. At some points the Wasp was saying 160, 165. Is it Pakistan that have taken the momentum in potentially?
I think they have. I think we look at the 2 scores last year in the England series. 169 was chased by Ireland down here in the last T20 international, so I can just hear the Pakistan team behind me. They seem quite joyful and happy with how they did in the first innings. So, like I said, Ireland have to take wickets, and particularly in that first 6.
Very jovial scenes across to our left. What about the Irish bowlers? Talking about that second innings, Laura McBride's come in and had a good impact immediately. Cara Murray will offer the spin option too, but it'll be very important as to how Orla Prendergast, Jane Maguire and Arlene Kelly go in terms of the seamers. Maybe get a little bit of additional movement early.
Yeah, it's going to be very different to what we saw with the Pakistan team. They relied a lot on their spin, and particularly in the middle we're going to see quite a heavy seam attack, and the senior bowlers for Ireland are the seamers, so they're going to be crucial to how this goes. And I think, like you said, Orla Prendergast is probably that trump card they have with the ball, swinging it back in, and she's probably got to get a couple early ones for this game to have a bit of spice.
Now, I heard you say we only once in the commentary box. Given you're currently still playing, that's a really good effort, but I've got to put you on the spot. Who do you think it's going to be who's going to take victory in this first T20?
I think Pakistan are in the driving seat, but I would love if we win.
I think it's a pretty good answer from Andy Valverde. The good news is Isabel Joyce is standing by. I'll get in and join her very shortly. Can the Irish bowlers get on top early? They're going to need early wickets with that power-packed batting line at Munib Ali, Gulfaroza, Sidra Amin et al. The players are going out. We're all set for the second innings coverage right now.
Brilliant to hear from the two guys, and a real fresh take on this Irish team, and Pakistan indeed, from Andy Balbirnie, who we'll hear from again a little bit later on. It's been a tough first innings for him. He's been asked a lot of, but I think it's been really great to hear from him. And 143 for the win for Pakistan. I think they've come out, they think it's that they're in the driver's seat, but I think that's about par here in Clontarf, especially considering Ireland. Now, they've only played 4 T20Is here, but the players on the field know the ground better than that. They'll feel like they maybe have 5 or 10 runs over what Pakistan can get to. That's certainly what they'll have told themselves at the mid-innings break. It's a real test for both teams. One of those slightly below par totals that can be tricky to get to, and you have to put real fight in to keep the other team underneath. Ireland slightly more attacking in their field set than we saw from Pakistan, with a slip in place. That's Cara Murray in there. No mid-on. So I think you can get an indication from that Orla Prendergast is going to be hoping not to get the ball too close up to the 2 Pakistan openers. Muniba Ali is at the non-strikers end. She's got the solitary T20 international century for Pakistan. It was against Ireland the last time they faced each other in T20 internationals. That was back in South Africa in the World Cup. And at the other end, goal for Rosa. Andrew Leonard, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Izzy. Here we go, all set for the second innings. Immediately a drag down and hammered away. Feroza pounces upon that length. A bit of a loosener from Prendergast, and not the way that Ireland would have wanted to start.
I think this was on purpose from Orla Prendergast. She didn't realise quite how strong Gul Feroza is on the back foot and 3 square leg. Maybe a little bit shorter than she meant, but just sat up, and she's so strong 3 square leg. And in fact, we saw her do so well in the Asia Cup. I think it was the first game she did pretty well, Gul Feroza, last summer. And then every team put square leg out immediately, and she tended to pick the fielder out. So something that Ireland might want to think about early on in particular. She's so good on the back foot.
Yeah, fascinating to hear the thoughts there of Andy Balbirnie during the break, and I think he's probably right in what he said. Ireland are a little behind the game. If they could have kind of taken an additional 10 or 15 from those last couple of overs, just when they got momentum, maybe 155, 160, they'd be comfortable. They're going to have to bowl and field out of their skins now.
Well, I think he's right in that Ireland need to take maybe a wicket or two in the power play. If they can get 1 or 2 wickets in the power play, Pakistan don't have the power down the order that you might see from some of the other nations ahead of Ireland in the rankings, as that one's just down leg side from Orla Prendergast, maybe just trying a little bit too hard. They rely on the power up the top here, these two that we see here, and the other one with really good power is Sidra Amin. Outside of that, they generally work the ball around, and Ireland's spinners will have a big role to play to try and create dot balls and create opportunities, just like we saw from Pakistan. So they kind of got the blueprint there and how to win this game, just keep taking wickets.
And of course, Munib Ali has that century, the sole century in her T20I career that came against Ireland, so she's got a good record. Always good to have a left-hand, right-hand combination. You see that wasp, which we saw in the first innings, predicting the first innings score. It's now going to predict the likelihood of the chase being effective successfully. So wasp is saying Pakistan definitely kind of 75% favourites in and around that right now.
The wasp changes too much. I reckon you got to give your opinion and then stick with it. You can't be changing every ball.
There is a bit too much data at points, isn't there, in the modern game? You almost heard Andy sort of talk about that in the first innings, that, you know, they were so reliant upon that data, particularly in T20 cricket. For some reason, we seem to have feasted upon it in this version.
Yeah, look, I think this is a really good example, the wasp, of how people can put too much into every single ball. There's a lot of looking back over the history of this particular team as opposed to all of the teams in general. How often have Pakistan chased down 140? Is that something we're looking at? Because I don't think it's that often. I don't have the exact stats. Unfortunately, for this, we don't have that kind of. I mean, you're the stats man here, and I'm happy to see you.
I'm badgering away. Don't worry, I'm badgering.
They don't call you the cricket badger for nothing. But in my experience, and I've seen a lot of Pakistan over the years, albeit they are developing just like Ireland are, but they don't chase down 140 that often. And Ireland's bowling attack is getting tighter and tighter, and they'll be confident, I think, to defend 140.
Nicely bowled. Good finish from Prendergast after that first boundary was dispatched, and a little bit of bruising done to Feroza, who has to give that a rub. End of the first, it's 5-0. That century came in the Women's T20 World Cup back in 2023. That was in Cape Town as Pakistan beat Ireland by 70 runs. It's funny, it is a different team, but there's plenty of survivors from an Irish perspective from that side just over 2 years ago now. You look at the likes of Emma Richardson, I don't think she's formally retired, but Mary Waldron has taken her curtain call. She's out of the squad. The rest of that Irish team, very consistent. Yeah,
a big change for me is Leah Paul was obviously in that team as a bowler. So she's down below Mary Waldron. She's moved up. She's very much in the team as a batter. Bowling lineup pretty similar. Ava Canning will come into the team today, and I think it's going to be Jay Maguire who opens the bowling, but we'll see Ava Canning before too long. She's a big change in the team since then.
And Maguire's consistency has certainly been given plenty of plaudits this year. Very accurate, and Ireland will have at least the 12 overs of seam to go to today. The two openers will be joined by Arlene Kelly as well, and then I suppose, how do you see the rest of the makeup of the attack? Would you imagine that it will be 8 overs of spin we'll see?
I think Ava Canning will come in probably in the power play because she is the one that swings it the most out of the whole lineup. That one's just directed down leg side. I'm surprised that she didn't take the new ball. The only thing being Orla Prendergast obviously opening the other end.
So we may get as many as 16 overs of seam in this Irish innings, which would be very different to the Pakistan approach.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get that many, but it's a little bit of, if one of the spinners doesn't come off, we've got a little bit of a backup. We can bowl 3 overs of any one of the bowlers. And it just means that as a bowling lineup, you're competing to try and get your 4 overs, which isn't a bad thing. Laura Delaney in the lineup as well, don't forget.
Let me ask you about that balance of the Irish team. It does feel like a very lengthy tail. I agree with you with what you were saying towards the tail end of that first innings, that Arlene Kelly would have been the more likely option at number 7 or number 8. She's hidden away all the way down at 9. But you look at 7 through 11, there isn't a huge amount of batting pedigree in that balance in terms of that 11 today. Would you like to see Christina Coulter-Riley maybe into the team?
Yeah, it's hard to find who she's going to knock out, because you're picking the players for their number 1 skill. And Jane Maguire, they're kind of saying she's an all-rounder.
Oh, powerfully pulled, and that's going to be pulled for 4. It's only fine leg that is outside the circle on the leg side, and that was nicely picked up by Munib Ali, one of her strong zones.
She played a lot of these kinds of shots in that century against Ireland in that World Cup. Just slightly too short, and that's all you have to be against Munib Ali. She just pivots, helps the hands. A little bit too straight as well from Jane Maguire, is struggling with her line ever so slightly. 4 fielders on the leg side, fine leg out, and quite a square third. So you can't really err in your length with this field, and Jane Maguire coming round the wicket to try and counteract that.
Yeah, and the slip has come out and comes in catching at extra cover now. Better this time. Powerfully swatted, wasn't it, by Munib Ali, as the wasp buzzes up to 80%. Right on the cue, as I say. Swatted. Ireland probably a little under par in that first innings batting effort. I know Pakistan fought back very well.
Yeah, I think they'll be frustrated with how they took attacking options when the option wasn't on. So don't force the shot if you're just going to get caught. It's something you see in club cricket quite a lot, and you back the Irish batters. It's a bit of a mow to the leg side. You back the Irish batters to be able to adjust in the moment. You heard Andy Balbirnie talk about it a little bit, but mainly you're looking for the most attacking option. What are you trying to take on? So Laura Delaney wanted to hit straight against Diana Baig. She hit her for that 6. But the balls that aren't up in your arc, she only got 1 out of the 6. So you're setting up to hit that boundary. If it's not there, where's my 2? Where's my 1? And that's the worst case scenario. So I think a lot of those catches were people trying to force a shot that just wasn't there, because Pakistan, as we said, bowling is their strong suit. So they're going to have an answer quite a lot of the time, especially someone like Fatima Sana.
Nicely driven, but straight to that extra cover fielder, who's come in quite close, almost catching on about 15 yards away or so.
Amy Hunter just coming up to the stumps there and changing the field. Square leg has gone out and fine leg inside the ring, which I think is probably a better option with Jane Maguire bowling into the left-hander. A little bit more protection where you think the ball's going to go. You should have to get inside the line to get it past the fielder in 45.
That's exactly where it's gone, but there is that protection out at deep backward square. Nicely fielded, will keep it to just a single. Rounds out a 7-run over, 2 in the books. It's 12 for none in the chase. If you are looking for some embers of hope, as you have managed to badger together those stats for you, it's just twice that in a winning chase Pakistan have made more than 143 in the second innings. Both of those victories coming on home soil in Karachi against South Africa, and both of those chases, once off the very final ball and in the other game off the final over when they chased down 156 and 151 respectively. So they do have some fragility in that second innings.
Yeah, and I think, like, if you look at Pakistan now, which we've just been shown, they seem confident. It's because they saw how Ireland went about things. They think they can mirror that. And yes, they can. But the problem with batting second is 1 quiet over, and suddenly the demons start coming into your mind, much more so when you're batting second than when you're batting first and you don't know what you're trying to get to.
This is chipped straight towards mid, often taken. Well, it's a very tame dismissal. I think she's looking to pull this into the leg side, Munib Ali, but it just splices up the simplest of catches for Arlene Kelly. And there's that wicket in the power play that Ireland wanted. It's the big one of Munib Ali.
You could see the niggle there from Orla Prendergast when that wicket went down. It meant a lot more to Ireland after that century that they shipped in the World Cup. That was the game they had looked to win. They lost by 70 runs. Maniba Ali, no such luck today. 5 from just 6 deliveries. It was the wrong shot to the wrong ball. And one of their big run scorers, their top run scorer in T20Is in this team, is gone. Swings away from Orla Prendergast, a little bit short, and that invites the shot, but just an easy catch for Arlene Kelly in mid-off, who got in position, wrapped her hands around it, and you could see the reaction from Orla Prendergast.
It's just not the right line, is it, to attempt that shot to? If you're going to try and cut it away, you might be able to capitalise upon it. But Maniba Ali's gone for 5. It's 12 for 1, and Ireland have an early breakthrough, and it goes to one of their stars, Orla Prendergast, as it so often does, who's back in and amongst the wickets as always. Certainly exactly the start that Ireland would have wanted. It'll bring Sidra Amin to the crease. She's in at number 3, the run machine for Pakistan. 33 years of age, now into her 65th T20I. It's a good diving stop. So often Gabby Lewis leads the way in terms of her quality of fielding, and she's at it yet again. That's a fantastic effort. 4 runs saved.
That's why she's got the long sleeves on. She knows she's going to be diving around. Gabby Lewis helps her bowler out there with that dive, because it was probably there to be hit by Sidra Amin, 3rd top run scorer in the format in the lineup for Pakistan. So a lot lies with her.
A little bit of movement back in to the right-hander. You can see how much belief Ireland have gained from that solitary delivery. What a big wicket that is. Maniba Ali back in the hutch. 2 right-handers now at the crease, and Ireland look full of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And while I was saying they want 150 plus, I thought 130 actually is competitive against Pakistan. Their bowlers would have been hoping to keep Ireland under that. I know we didn't hear from Fatima Sana, but that would have been about 120, 130. They feel comfortable, confident chasing. 140 is a lot to ask of their batting lineup, because they're accumulators. Ireland, I think their batting compared to Pakistan when they became professional, a lot more players are developing in the Irish batting lineup than we've seen from Pakistan. They tend to rely on 2 or 3 players, and then everyone works around them. So it's huge pressure for Sidra Amin now that Maniba Ali is gone. And if they lose those 2, you can sometimes see the confidence in the group crumble.
You'd imagine Pakistan, as this one does find the gap, anticipated it being cut off. It might get to the rope, it will. Shows how fast the outfield is. Leopold looked like she was on a travelator there, just couldn't quite catch up with that piercing cover drive. Gorgeous way for Sidra Amin to get off the mark, and it breaks the 3 consecutive dots as she finds her first boundary.
Just a little bit too wide outside off stump on those deliveries. She managed to find the fielder a couple of times, Sidra Amin, but gets it through there. Maybe it could have done better there, Rebecca Stokel. I'd say there's the mistake rather than Leopold, because we've seen this outfield. It's like it just downhill all the way around.
Really feels like that, doesn't it? Yeah. Shaping away from the square, even if that's probably not possible. And again, the extra pace on the delivery from Prendergast allowed that one to race to the rope. We'll see the slip come out and try to pack in the additional protection into the ring. As this one's going to beat the dive, just bobbles over the artificial mat. It's going to be back-to-back boundaries as Sidra Amin shows her wares despite the wicket in the over. 8 runs come from it as well as Pakistan. They move to 20 at the end of the 3rd over.
I don't know what that was supposed to be. It just came off some footmarks, didn't it, of a used pitch. And I don't know if Gabby Lewis actually would have stopped it anyway if it hadn't bobbled off. But great start to the over. I think they would have taken 1 for 8 from the over had you offered it to them.
Yeah, the mat's on the other side, sir. The artificial is actually on the clubhouse side. It did just look like it bobbled over something. I think it's maybe come out of maybe one of the ends.
That's the pitch that they use for 2 months straight when it's the 4th and 5th playing here in Clontarf, I think. Yeah, no, it's on the edge of the square. I think that's the practice wicket for the men's and women's 1s and 2s in Clontarf. Jane Maguire will continue.
Helped around the corner where there is protection. Don't think they'll get the second as Paul gets to it and releases quickly. You talk about kind of Ireland's aims here. It's to try and bring that scoreboard into play as much as possible, get that required run rate into the heads of the batters.
Yeah, I think so. I think I mean, Gabby Lewis has talked about it a lot, that they want to keep taking wickets, but maybe the way to take wickets now is to build a few dot balls. Don't let especially Sidra Min get into her innings. Find where you can get her to hit to the boundary fielders and try and squeeze out a few dots and see, can you make them make a mistake.
Ambitious stroke, and certainly what you'll see from that LP Hughes end of the ground with just coming down the hill. You won't get the same bounce as you do coming up the hill. That one just skidding on, keeping a bit low, and I mean lucky to survive playing across the line.
A little shuffle down the pitch, and I think Jane Maguire was able to recognise that. That's something that she has in her action. She can dig it in quite late if she sees someone coming at her. And from this end, from the LP Hughes end, as you said, it just skids on, doesn't sit up for the batter on the back foot.
Shorter ball, hooked away. Enough control to get it wide with a square leg fielder. Glorious sunshine now bathes Castle Avenue. We're not far from the sea here, are we? Probably only a couple of kilometres across to the entrance to Dublin Port.
Yeah, absolutely, very close to the sea, and that sun will add maybe 2 degrees to that 14 degrees that you called earlier there, Lenny.
It felt chilly, it did feel chilly. It's a little bit more pleasant there.
I've got my cardigan off, come on, it's warm.
Well, we will take 3 days of this weather across Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. I think initially slated as a dual format series, it's restricted down just to the 3 T20Is. We've spoken a lot about that qualifier coming up in the Netherlands. What's the kind of the gap that they have, the turnaround? Do the Irish women's side go straight across then? I think the tournament starts on the 20th, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're putting me under pressure here, Lenny, which I know you love to do. They've got about 8 days before they travel after the first game. Slower delivery through, and that is another wicket for Ireland. Feroza looking to take the game on. A wild swing across, an excellently executed slower ball. Feroza just couldn't get going. Jane Maguire in the wickets now.
2 in the power play, and it's exactly what Ireland would have liked. And again, I think it's a very skillful piece of bowling. We've seen some excellence from Fatima Sana in the first innings. That's now being matched firstly by Orla Prendergast and now by Jane Maguire, who continues to have a real purple patch in 2025. I think it is pace off. That was the initial indication, and it ends up being a bit of a wild hack. But have a look at this. That's turned. That has turned in the surface. All the pace has come out of it. It's not seemed like we saw from Fatima Sana, but very, very good skills nonetheless. And the stumps are castled. Pakistan in early trouble, as it will be Aliyah Riaz who'll have to come out to the crease at number 4.
Well, we've seen 2 of the top runs scorers out in the middle so far. There's the third. Sidra Min remains out in the middle. Aliyah Riaz sits in second place out of this squad from Pakistan. 1,142 runs she's made in her 99 matches. Highest score 57. She'll have to do something like that. At least one of these 2 will have to. If Pakistan are going to come home. Sidra Min's highest score 63. Ireland on the hunt for a third in the power play.
Short ball from Maguire, no contact made by Riaz. End of the 4th, all the 2s on the board, 22 for 2. I thought Riaz was exceptional actually during that ICC Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier there in Pakistan and home, so she's probably unlucky not to be in the team of the tournament. There was 3 scores of 50 plus that came against Ireland, Scotland and Bangladesh in that final game, where Pakistan remained unbeaten, winning 5 from 5. But they've had to have a little bit of a lull, a lack of action since April, whereas Ireland have been clearly, as you can see, within their fielding and their bowling changes and their rhythm, in plenty of action in recent time, and plenty more to come as Ava Canning will come into the attack to bowl the 5th over. Ireland very much feeling confident in their chances of defending this now.
Yeah, I think so. And I just talk about Ava Canning and her role within the team. I think this is a perfect example of why it's great to have a bowling unit where people are jostling for position. Yes, Orla Prendergast is going to be in the team. Jane Maguire kind of seems to have that spot right now, but nobody really can let rest in their laurels and say they'll be in the 11, because Ava Canning not in the team the first 2 T20s against Zimbabwe. And as well, not in the first one-day international, came in but performed really well. So by virtue of those performances, she gets in at the start of this series. So it just shows you that, performance is how you do. Yes, they're a big unit, and outside of the squad that's here, there are other players that aren't in the squad. Amy Maguire, a very good example, who's just been cleared. The left-arm spinner, very excited to see how she gets on. But really good for the players to see that if they do perform, they can get back in.
And competition for places is exactly what you want, and probably something in your era you didn't quite have the same depth, did you?
No, well, it's something I wrote about actually. We've got a digital match program, and I looked right through all the T20s we played against Pakistan, and it brings you back thinking, well, I remember that game, or I'm someone who forgets quite a lot, which is a good thing.
You're not the only one.
It's a good thing to forget quite a lot of your cricket career. Maybe you should remember a few dots that were good, but what I'm trying to get at is that I felt like the team stagnated. There weren't new players coming in that were good enough to push the players that were there, first of all, out of the team, or even just push them to get better. So, I mean, did we have the supports? Absolutely not. You got what you put in, really, and then the coaches did the best they could with the time that they had, which was very little. But it definitely, if you look down, it's the same failings over and over and over again, without anyone finding a way to figure it out and get better, because we didn't have the kind of supports or competition that we're seeing here from Ireland.
And despite the excellence of some of the players that you would have played with, your sister and Claire Shillington, and going back further towards Miriam Greeley and that era, is it fair to say that there's no doubt that this is the strongest Irish women's side there been, this kind of new era that there is now, led by Gabby Lewis? Yeah, no, absolutely no doubt that this is the best team there's been. Would those players have been as good if they had been here and now? Who knows, but you'd think so. Certainly some of them still playing now. You look at Claire Shillington, still playing for Pembroke Cricket Club, but she still looks $1 million. So it would be interesting to see, and we said it from very early on. We just wish we could do more, but we have to pay the bills. You have to do your normal day job, as so many female athletes do, and we're lucky in cricket in Ireland. Yes, players should be more professional. There should be more professionalism within women's sport, but we're one of the sports where you can give your full time to cricket, and that's a real feather in the cap for Cricket Ireland that they've pushed that, because it started only a couple of years ago, and now you've got 20 odd people on contracts. Yes, not all full time, but definitely able to pursue their cricket. Yeah, as a consequence, significantly more depth than ever before. Let's get a look at the Pakistan batting cards. You get to the end of the fifth. It's a quarter of the way through the chase, 26 for 2 the score. Fatima Sana herself will probably be the one who'll add the impetus in terms of strike rate and aggression. She's someone who can pick it up and clear the rope. I'm not sure she'll be listed at number 5, though. Maybe the debutante Iman Fatima, who'll be in number 5. Natalia Parvez, it might be at 6. Sana is that kind of charismatic character who can float up and down the order, though real shades of Imran Khan to her leadership. As the misfield is going to allow a boundary. Change of bowling, Arlene Kelly into the attack. It was short, it was wide, it was there to be hit, and it was well put away.
Yeah, she's always given this over. This is the most difficult over in the power play, in my opinion. The last one, when the batting team are looking to accelerate and just not how you want it to come out at all. Awkward position that mat is for the fielders on the ring, because you're always thinking it might pop up, but I think Orla Prendergast will feel she should have done better.
Yeah, there's that artificial mat that I was referring to. Always difficult. You just don't know how it's going to react. Is it going to skid off it? Is it going to jar in and maybe pop up on you? And that uncertainty maybe in some ways allowing the misfield from Orla Prendergast. She's such a fine fielder at backward points.
Yeah, and this ground as well, you can't really tell from our pictures, but the ground's so hard, the grass so short, so it does make it difficult sometimes for those kinds of shots. And there's another one, finds the gap. No swing for Arlene Kelly. 4 runs again. She comes into the attack, and maybe this is just the little bit of acceleration that Pakistan need to get their chase really underway.
And despite the 4-month gap in action for Pakistan, and despite a different format, Aliyah Riaz very much picking up from where she left off there in Lahore. She was outstanding, and she's flown to 10 off just 7 deliveries. Critical couple of boundaries there, just bringing things back towards parity as we approach the end of the power play. And that's going to be 4 more, I think. Oh no, an excellent diving stop. Just the one hand from Maguire, and it was badly needed because that was racing away to the rope as well.
Yeah, good from Jane Maguire. They need this kind of desperation fielding, because we talked about it in the first innings, just a couple of balls can swing the momentum. 3 boundaries in the over really would have put Pakistan back in the driver's seat at the end of this power play. Arlene Kelly just searching for some swing that doesn't seem to be there. If there is swing, she usually finds it, but not today.
Ireland posted 48 for 1 from their power play, their first 6 overs. So Pakistan a little bit behind the 8 ball right now, being 2 down, but hanging around in the chase, according to Wasp, still favourites.
Wasp and I'll have to have words. No, I think as well what you're not taking into consideration there is that Ireland know the ground, not you, Wasp. Ireland know the ground, and you could see how well they ran, how they knew the pockets, the corners you could run to.
It's another sprawling effort. Prendergast is quick enough to maybe cut this one off and rein it in, but it's still 2 more. An expensive over from Kelly, not her best, far too wide throughout the over. 11 come from it. It's 37 for 2.
Power play done and dusted, 37 for 2. Ireland at the same point, 48 for 1. So Pakistan slightly worse off, but 2 experienced players out in the middle in double figures as well. So they'll feel like they're well set at this point in time. What they won't want is a third anytime soon. What Andrew Leonard will want is a little bit of a break and maybe some chowder. And Andrew Balbirnie after a well-needed break. Get your thoughts together, Andy. And what do you make of that power play?
Well, it was a good beef stroganoff. I can tell you that. Lenny will enjoy that. A pretty even power play. I think they'll be delighted with the 2 wickets, but a couple of misfields at the back end of the power play just gave Pakistan a couple of boundaries to close it out. But yeah, fairly even here, and I think it's a tight enough game. It's been tight all the way through, and it's no different in that first power play.
Yeah, big partnership. The 2 senior batters out in the middle now that Muniba Ali is no longer there. The field is slightly odd, I was just about to say, because third is out and cover is up, but they've changed that now. Third will come up and cover goes back. 3 fielders out in the leg side, deep backward square, deep mid wicket and long on for the big hooping in swingers of Canning. A real full delivery. Not sure that's what was meant to happen there for Ava Canning, looking for the big in swinging Yorker.
Yeah, I'm just having a look around the field. There's no fine leg at all. That deep backward square is a good bit behind, but there's no 45. There's an extra fielder in at mid-wicket with that deep mid-wicket sort of cow corner area. So Ava Canning's got to be pretty accurate with her bowling here.
She's deceptively tall. You can't tell by her running past the umpire because Riley Black's even taller. But it does make her quite difficult to face because of that lack of pace. Coming off the pitch, it's a good pitch here in Clontarf, but that little bit of lack of pace, extra height. I know you're tall yourself, but in the women's game, she's a tall bowler. Ava Canning can make it difficult.
Yeah, it's a good pitch, like you said, but it's not a quick pitch. It never really has been a quick pitch here, which is always nice when you're facing fast bowlers. But yeah, it's a very even pitch, and there's no demons in it. But like you said, an extra little bit of bounce for her.
And again, on the money, Ava Canning. 4 dots to start the over, so it's get out at the overtime as Cara Marie on your screen warms up her leg spin. She'll be trying to get in the mind of the captain. As a captain, did you look around the field and see who was looking confident? Keep the eyes on the ground, was it? No, don't want to make eye contact.
There's a couple of candidates who were desperate to have a ball that were never in my thoughts, but I'd never give them the eye contact whatsoever.
You're going to have to spill the beans. Oh, that could have gone anywhere. Riaz looking to find the gap that she found so well the last over through backward point, but can only get the bottom of the bat. Come on, name and shame. Who were the ones that when you looked around were always trying to roll the arm over?
Harry Tector is someone who bowls probably too many overs than he should, but fortunately he was a young pup when I was captain, so I think he, in Test cricket, as we go on and go to certain conditions around the world, he could come into it. 5 dots in a row here from Canning. This is a crucial over so far. Might see it. Oh, great over.
Brilliant over. Maiden. The 7th, so a really good over in the 6th over of the game. The power play finishing with that Arlene Kelly over, but Canning comes back and hands the pressure back over to Pakistan with a really well bowled maiden. As I said, back into the team. I mean, she's played a couple of games in the Zimbabwe series, but how pleasing for a coach and a captain to have a young bowler like that who maybe was slightly out of the team push themselves back in.
Yeah, and it really is a rarity, a maiden in a T20 international. You don't see that every day at all. But yeah, I think just form and confidence is, and no matter what cricket you are playing, if you have that, you can carry it into any format. And just the way she's bowled that over so accurately, she's shown that she's in good form and ready for it.
Cara Marie into the attack, the leg spinner. So often a make or break bowler in an innings for the batting and bowling side. Square leg, mid wicket, long on and cover out. So the gap over mid off should the batters look to take on the leg spinner. Starts well, swatted down too long on. Laura Delaney does the tidying up. I still can't get used to her fielding out in the boundary because obviously she was captain for so long. So used to seeing her in the ring, but she's down there quite a lot these days.
It'll be really interesting to see how Riaz goes here. She's just faced 6 balls, 6 dots in the last over. Cara Murray throwing it up there with a bit of extra flight.
She is good down the ground. Looks to go on the back foot though, or the Prendergast as well. Yeah, she is really good down the ground, Riaz, but she's in that stage in her innings where maybe she's worried about not getting the full blade of the bat on it, and never good if you're worried about not executing your shot. We've just moved Arlene Kelly in third, just slightly square. It's almost like 2 points now.
Yeah, 8 dots in a row here to Riaz, and she'll be taking, I've no doubt about that. As a batter, you want to score off every ball, and when you have those balls, 8 dots bowled at her, she'll need a big shot here. You know, mid-off is up. Cara Murray is giving it a bit of air. I feel like something's brewing here.
Yeah, really good from Murray there, going to run the quick single. She was ready, Riaz down the other end. She knew that She knew that Riaz was ticking and needed to get down the other end. Great start from a leg spinner.
Yeah, she's bowled her lengths really well. I was a bit concerned after the first ball that she might look to go fuller, but I think with that field you've got to be so cautious about throwing it up there. It's such a short hit, you barely have to hit it.
Back foot again. Can't cut it off Gabby Lewis, but Rebecca Stokel on her bike early. She gets around to keep it to single. Just the one delivery remaining for Cara Murray. And it's been a really good couple of overs from Ireland outside the power play. It's people talk about the power play overs so much, but 7, 8, 9 as overs on a bowling team, you can really squeeze a team, can't you?
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure. If you don't have an amazing first 6, you want to catch up as quick as possible.
Full toss, but it be placed leg side with the spin. It'll go straight to Leah Paul, and just the 4 singles in that Murray over. So backing up Ava Canning's maiden expertly, the leg spinner. 8 gone, and Pakistan 41 for 2 have it all to do.
Yeah, and you can just see the run right there at 8.5. The Ireland fielders will no doubt be trying to get that to 10 as soon as possible, and that's when the pressure really starts, and you get a bit more vocal in the field. And you can see Ava Canning amazing, none for 4 off 2. We're not at the end of the over. No, we are at the end of the over. Sorry, Ava Canning will continue, and she'll naturally be looking to keep it tight to Riaz, who again 13 off 18. Bit of pressure on her to get going a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she was so good on the back foot against Kelly. It seems like she's sweating on the shots off the back foot, but might be better off looking to play it on the front foot. Goes back foot again and finds Prendergast in point. Very difficult to hit someone like Canning, who has such a lack of pace, off the back foot from wide outside off stump.
I think it's a credit to the plans, because you spoke earlier about how well Riaz plays down the ground, and she's hitting the fielders a lot, but they're square of the wicket, and they obviously want her to hit it there, and that's all she's done for the last 2 or 3 overs, is hit those square fielders.
Cover the only fielder out on the offside. She looks to come down the ground, and Canning adjusts accordingly, just pulls the length back and a little bit straighter on this occasion as well.
It's just building. You can feel something happening. Sidra Amin is walking down to the crease and just having a quiet word, telling her to calm down. We're in a good place here. Don't throw your wicket away. But that goes in one ear, out the other when you faced 8 or 9 dots over the last couple of overs. You want that boundary. You're desperate for that big hit.
It's something like 10 out of 11 dots in the last few overs. This will go straight to Laura Delaney. She almost gets run out because she's can't quite believe she hasn't beat the fielder in third. Canning is 9 dots in a row against Riaz.
It's such a funny game, T20, particularly, I'm not a bowler myself, but some days you can just get hit all around the ground, and there are other days where people cannot get you off the square, and I think Ava Canning is having one of these spells now. She just maybe needs a wicket to put a bit of extra bowled.
Well, finally, after 9 dots, Aliyah Riaz says, I'll just punch it into the gap, slight gap, and get a single. And maybe that's the chat that happened. It was just let me get on strike. I've got a plan. I'm the better matchup.
Yeah, and it's a credit to Riaz there. It's quite easy to just kind of feel like you have to play the most audacious shot to get a boundary, but Sidra Amin's obviously got a lot of experience. She's told her to calm down. The longer these two are at the wicket, the easier it'll get, and the more you get used to the wicket and stuff like that. But this is a brilliant spell from Ava Canning.
Good captaincy as well. Mid-wicket comes out and 45 goes in. They know the big shot's coming. It's a steepler. Gabby Lewis settles underneath it, and it's a third wicket. Well deserved from Ava Canning. Well, the pressure was building at one end. It's the batter at the other, Sidra Amin, who was looking really well set. That's had to pay with the price of her wicket. Frustration for her as she marches off. Look, Ava Canning, after pressure building, 9 dot balls in a row, Sidra Amin looks to get a boundary and finds the top edge.
And that is purely down on the pressure that Riaz has created. Dot ball after dot ball. Whether Sidra Amin went down and said, get me on strike, I want to play the big shot. Gabby Lewis called it so early. She wasn't letting anyone else catch that, in a great time and a very, very well-deserved wicket for Ava Canning.
And you could see the celebration from Cara Murray in extra cover, straight to her partner in crime. They're bowling in a partnership there. Canning with the maiden, then Murray just going for 4, and then Canning 3 dots, a single, and then the wicket. And now we see the debutante. What a position to come out into the middle for your first time in T20 internationals for your country. Iman Fatima coming out at number 5 as Pakistan are 42 for 3 and a spotted bother. She did play in that inaugural ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup in South Africa. She was Pakistan's top run scorer in that tournament, 4th overall as well. So slightly unfamiliar territory for her because she generally opens the batting. 157 runs in that tournament. A totally different situation here as she's facing up against an in-form Ava Canning.
Yeah, another exceptional over from Ava Canning there. 1 for 5 off her 3. Do you bowl her a 4th? Do you keep her in this game as she's bowling so well? Do you save her one? It's a hard one to judge, but Fatima will be going through all the emotions now. It's her debut, massive day for her and her family, but she's coming into a really tough situation and she's got to try her best to get Pakistan back in this game, you would say, because Ireland in the last 3 or 4 overs have just flipped a switch and have taken the impetus into this.
Yeah, I think Ava Canning will probably find herself bowling a 4th. She generally doesn't come back in T20 internationals or even in one-day internationals. It's something that we've spoken about her needing to work on. Probably doesn't have the slower deliveries. Cara Murray to bowl her 2nd. In the air, taken. Gabby Lewis with 2 catches in just a few deliveries. Cara Murray bowled a tight over. Aliyah Riaz completely gone mentally. The pressure applied by Ava Canning. She did take the wicket in the last over, but Cara Murray takes it in this. And this Pakistan batting lineup in tatters. 42 for 4. Riaz goes for a torturous 14 from 23, just 2 boundaries right up the top of her innings. And Pakistan have it all to do.
Yeah, I actually think it's such brave bowling from Cara Murray. With mid-off up, she has thrown it up and bowled it full. And there, as we see it, she hasn't tried to hit it. She's just tentative, and you'd think it would be the other way. She's looking to score. She's got to play with a bit more freedom. Straight to Gabby Lewis, 2 catches in 2 overs, and now we have 2 new batters, and this is right in Ireland's favour, and they'll be delighted with how the 3 or 4 overs have gone since the power play.
Yeah, 2 new batters, not only to the game, but pretty new to international cricket. Natalia Pervez, she's 29 years old, 21 T20Is, but just hasn't played that much over a long period of time. She was first of all known as a bowler really, but has turned into a middle order batter. And so these 2, it's about learning on the job.
And I think, as Lenny alluded to at the start of the game, Pakistan haven't played a T20 international for a long time. Ireland have played a lot of T20 internationals.
Down the pitch straight away, and she's going to take the game on, is Pervez. Maybe sees the leg spinner as someone she can take on, try and put off her length. She doesn't seem too happy with that shot.
No, and it's just the tempo of T20 internationals. Like I said, Ireland have coming in on the back of some great performances in this format, but Pakistan haven't played in so long. Trying to find the rhythm of T20 cricket is a difficult thing to do at the best of times, and Ireland just seem to be really on it in the field, and with their bowling changes, and their catching has been superb so far.
Yeah, I think they knew 140, well, they weren't happy with it. They knew it was actually going to be a tough ask for Pakistan. Big sweep off the mark is the debutante, Iman Fatima. So a nice moment for her. You have to think about her. Yes, that she'll be thinking about the bigger picture in that Pakistan want to win this game, but for her, just a nice little moment to get off the mark in international cricket.
Yeah, it's always important in your first game, but like you said, there is a bigger picture, and she needs to do another hard sweep there out to cow corner. She needs to do her best to just build a partnership. They're 4 down for 44, and 45 now. They need to build something, whether it's a 20 or 30 run partnership, because 140, it's not a massive score. You just need one good partnership and it sets it up. But like we said, Ireland are taking wickets, and that's such a crucial thing when you're in the field defending a low total. You can see the energy around the group, and they've started this first 10 overs really well.
Run rate at 4.6, run rate required 9.5. She's very good straight, is Fatima, but needs it full. I don't know if there was an edge there. I can't really tell from our angle. I think maybe not, because if there was, we might have seen a little bit more of reaction from Cara Marie.
No, Snicko. Well, that run rate is creeping up to 10. We spoke about it a couple of overs ago, and it's raced up to 9.6.
Nice little bit of drop on that from Cara Marie, but a good connection as well. Leah Paul stays on her feet in the deep, and I think that was the key to keeping that to a single for the final ball. So another good over from Cara Marie, the wicket in the first 4 singles as well. And after 10, Pakistan in a bit of a hole, 46 for 4. And after kind of fighting back in the power play, they were 37 for 2. They've only added 9 in the next
and
few.
I think at the start of the innings, Captain Gabby Lewis would have rallied the troops and said, let's make sure after 10 overs we are in this game, and they're very much in this game and actually in the driving seat. The 4 wickets being so crucial. 2 new batters in at the crease, one on debut, Ava Canning having the spell of her life here, and she's going to continue and close out here, and hopefully for her add to her 1 for 5.
It would be well deserved. Another one finds its way to Orla Prendergast and point. Oh dear, she will be livid with herself. Orla Prendergast prides herself in her fielding. There is no pressure on her really. The batters weren't trying to run, and it's just scooted through her legs. Canning won't be too pleased, but she is the kind of bowler, Ava Canning, you watch from the sideline and think, what's the big deal? Why don't they just hit her? But when you get out there in the middle, it's a tougher prospect than it looks.
I think it's just a credit to her accuracy. She's bowled, how many times have we seen the ball hit to sort of Orla at backward point? There's clearly not a lot of pace in the wicket, and she's taking pace off and bowling really accurately and putting pressure on Pakistan to change her length or line. They haven't come down the wicket at all, part of that being down to Amy Hunter up to the crease. There's still no fine leg. We haven't seen any sort of lap, just something to change the momentum.
Totally different to how Ireland went about things. They're taking on the fielder, Eileen Kelly. Oh, if that had hit, it was gone. Ireland doing well to back up there. I think you can see even from that, Parvez wasn't even thinking at all about coming back for the second. They very well could have come back for an overthrow, but just the single, she knew she was gone for all money, had that hit. Yeah,
and it seemed like a bit of a panic run there. They realised that they weren't having much luck getting runs off Ava Canning, so it was almost a hit and run, and if Arlene hits, that's 5 down.
Really interesting to see this change in line for me for Ava Canning. She generally used to bowl in at the stumps. Now she's just bowling full and outside off, and almost asking Pakistan, how are you going to add some power to it? Because if they come down the pitch, there's the danger of getting stumped, isn't there? Because Amy Hunter's up to the stumps.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they haven't tried anything. They've just kind of sat and tried to say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for your bad ball, and Ava Canning just hasn't bowled that bad ball.
Hit high on the bat that time, so Ava Canning close to closing out her spell of 4 overs on the trot. 1 for 8, incredible stuff. And it's hard to think that just a few overs ago we were talking about Pakistan maybe feeling like they had the momentum.
Yeah, and it's T20 is such a funny game, how you can just change that so quickly. As we see a fine leg now go in place from mid-wicket, so leaves that mid-wicket open with that deep cow corner. Brilliant spell. 1 for 9 off her 4. I was going to say spell of a lifetime, but I look at the stats and her best bowling in an innings is 2 for 5. So, I mean, amazing spell, and has completely flipped that from the power play. Not that Pakistan got away in the power play, but they had a solid power play. But Ava Canning's come in, and that's an amazing spell of bowling and really accurate, and she can be delighted with her effort.
1 maiden, 9 runs, 1 wicket, just 2.25 runs per over in her spell. That single did bring up the 50 for Pakistan, 50 for 4 in 11 overs, but courtesy of 4 overs from Ava Canning, Ireland well on top in the first game of this Ireland versus Pakistan Women's T20 International Series. There are 2 more matches to come. One on Friday, one on Sunday. So if you're in the area, make sure you come down, because I think Pakistan will be looking to come back strong in this game and indeed in the game on Friday. Cara Murray continues, and it's all happening in that delivery, and yet nothing happened.
Yeah, just pace off seems to be the drill here for Ireland. We've seen it from both ends here. Pakistan clearly are used to sort of pace on, and Ireland haven't given them anything, and they've been really disciplined, and it's a credit to the bowling. It's a good sweep there. Picked the gap, spinning away from Ava Canning after her 4 overs in a row. A despairing dive, really good shot. Parvez is happy with that.
Yeah, well, she looked to come down the pitch on the previous delivery. It didn't come off, so she's gone back to her stronger suit, the sweep shot, and you can see her head gets right into that, gets the follow through. Ireland had changed their positions slightly there from the previous over. It didn't pay off because it's opened up that gap. Comes down the pitch, and that's going to be out. Run out. Cara Murray, well done. She dives to try and stop that going for 4, but gets enough on it for it to cannon into the stumps. And it's one of those days for this Ireland bowling attack. Everything seems to be coming up trumps. That's not the way you want to be dismissed ever, but certainly not on debut. Ayman Fatima goes for 4 from 6 run out at the non-striker's end. Disappointment for her. Sometimes, just like when Gabby Lewis is dismissed in the first innings, you just have to take your hat off and say well done. It's that occasion for her. Pakistan lose their 5th. They're 54 for 5.
Yeah, it's a bowler's game. I mean, it was a full toss. She's hit it really well. Fatima's just having a wander. Will we get a single here? Do I have to get back? Oh no, on debut. Something to tell the grandkids, I suppose, but what can you do? I mean, it's despair for both involved, but I've been in that situation on both ends when you've hit it and you've run your mate out, or you've been run out. It's the worst way to get out, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Ireland are delighted, and that's just the way this inning seems to be going at the moment. Ireland can't put a foot wrong, and every chance that they get to take a wicket, they're taking it.
Well, this is where the game's at. You'd have to say it's either Fatima Sana comes off or Ireland take the first game, because Fatima Sana is the one with the highest strike rate in the team. She's scored runs in the recent past, and she's kind of Pakistan's talisman.
And she's not backing up. She did not move there.
Well, there are certain batters that you know you shouldn't back up for. I don't know about you, Andy, but if you're batting with Laura Delaney, do not leave your crease, because she hits the ball back down.
I'm bad. I wander out. If Mancats were a genuine dismissal, that'd be my number 1 mode of dismissal.
Oh, well, I've seen a few in our time, but it's a big moment because Sana's on strike. That was a single. Big deep breath from Cara Murray. There's a big full toss to start off with. Leopold won't catch up with that. She hits a heavy ball. Look out in the crowd. Fatima Sana's in the middle.
Yeah, it was a freebie. It's exactly the sort of ball you want. First ball of your innings, you don't have to do a whole lot there. Just pick a gap and hit it as well as you can. And that's exactly what she's done. Clearly over pitch from Cara Murray. And yeah, just a freebie. And like you say, a nice little hop off the boundary. Keep your eye on the ball. Oh, good. Oh, she nearly went off the seat.
Pace right off, long off goes back. Gabby Lewis is out there, so mid on in for Fatima Sana. Good knowledge from Ireland. And Cara Murray closes out that over with a single. 12 gone. Pakistan 60 for 5. Need 83 in just 48 deliveries with 5 wickets in hand. But Fatima Sana in particular is out in the middle, you feel they do have a chance.
Yeah, 100%. And Lara McBride comes into the attack, an off spinner, 2 right-handers. So you'd like to think that this will be a nice matchup for them, and they've got to go. I think it's not a whole lot of runs, like I've mentioned throughout. It's only 83 runs, and if you can get a 20 or 30 run partnership and take it down in tens from there, you're right in the game. But Ireland will be thinking if we can get a couple of wickets.
Yeah, it's a big moment for Lara McBride. She's only played 2 T20 internationals so far, and she generally bowled straight outside the power play, but she's been asked to come on later on here. Pace right off. She generally keeps the stumps in play, bowls a lot of arm balls, so come out of the crease at your peril, make sure you commit. And I think Gabby Lewis was talking about it a few times, but she said she's got just nerves of steel, doesn't seem perturbed at anything.
Lovely sweep there. A bit of a free shot with no deep square. Beats the diving Rebecca Stokel. Like I said, square leg was in the ring. It was a bit of a free sweep for Sana. And yeah, McBride, like you say, pace off really slow. So as a sweep shot, you've got to put all the effort into that, but great position. And a good shot.
Well, she's the only one who's actually tried to make something happen, Fatima Sana. Everyone else just trying to hit from the crease pretty much. She's moved across there and found the gap over square leg. No change in the field. Gabby Lewis going and talking to Lara McBride. Cover long off, long on, and deep mid wicket. The fielder's out in the deep. And she's just, I think that might have been what Gabby Lewis said to her. If she moves across, just stop. See if she'll continue to do it.
I did mention the man cat.
There's the long ball. She bowls it from way behind the popping crease. Lara McBride is one of her favourite change-ups, the young off-spinner, just 19 years old and only bowling off-spin for something like 18 months, maybe 20 months now.
I think from the batters we've seen all day, batters who've come in and tried things from the off, whether it's move their feet, sweep hard, they've had the rewards. It's when you've got stuck in the crease and allowed the bowlers to bowl to you, that's when they've become stuck.
Spot on. Down the pitch, there's someone taking it on. Mid-off had come up inside the ring. It's gone to long on. Arlene Kelly gathers well. So this is the bowler they're going to take on. It's a big ask for Lara McBride. It's the right option for Pakistan, but if they put a foot wrong, Ireland will get the much-needed breakthrough. So risk-reward for both teams. 100%,
and that's Ireland have earned that by getting the 5 early wickets that Lara can come in and do her stuff.
Slower than slow, but has the power. Does Fatima Sana. Beats the fielder in extra cover and beats the fielder in the deep. So a couple of boundaries in the over, and maybe this is the over that they needed desperately.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's hard from this angle to see, but it looks as if she bowled it from back again. Maybe not as much, but there's so little pace on it that there's so much time to react and pinpoint where you want to hit it, and it's perfectly dissected and no chance for the fielders in the deep.
Moves across again, bottom edge, big chance and taken. So risk reward, Fatima Sana stands still. She doesn't think it's out, but there seemed to be a sound from where we were. Maybe she's just frustrated, but she's going to have to walk back. Rolly Black is telling her, you're going to have to walk off the field. The captain doesn't want to go. 6th wicket goes. Fatima Sana, strike rate of 200, 14 from just 7 with 3 boundaries in it. Well, she was there, he said they had a chance, but now she's gone. 70 for 6, Pakistan.
Yeah, I've seen some slow walks off after being dismissed, but this is certainly a slow walk. She was not happy. We'll see a replay here, but it was slightly short, probably a bit too tight to cut, and no pace on it. Really good, smart catch from Amy Hunter. And like you said, she's got to cross her crease. I can't see anything but a nick there. Like, we can't hear it from here, but Rolly Black wasn't hesitant. But she's still not off the pitch. She wasn't happy, but credit to Lara McBride. It was a tough start to her over, but she came back brilliantly, and that 6th wicket is so crucial. Like you said, such experience to leave at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I think that was the arm ball as well, because you saw Fatima Sana moving across this crease, then it was leaving her, so she decided to shuffle back. And once you commit to something, you're better off sticking with it, because it's that 50-50 that can sometimes cost you. Cara Murray continuing. Real drag down. But the problem for Pakistan is they don't have power. Oh, in the deep. Ava Canning could have done better. Can you get something behind it? She's still moving when the ball reached her.
Yeah, just a bad bit of cricket. Ireland have been so good and on it for 13 overs. But yeah, just a drag down from Cara Murray that you'd expect to probably go for one. And yeah, probably just spun a bit on her in the second bounce in Ava Canning. But yeah, just a bit of poor cricket, but they've been so good thus far that they can have one bob.
Good comeback from Murray. Looking to sweep again, our Pakistan. But what do you make of the 4 overs in a row for a leg spinner? Good thing because she's in rhythm, or maybe hand the ball to someone else who's fresh?
Yeah, I think I was always different. When I was always kind of try to mix my bowlers as best as possible, but I think when it's working for you, you've just got to stick with it, and it has been so far for this Irish bowling attack.
Down the pitch and good connection, great work. Well, nobody tell Parvez that this game is over, because she's going to continue to take it on. She's been very good on the sweep, but this time takes the ball down the ground for a maximum.
Yeah, got right to the pitch of ball, really clean strike. Anyone who's come out and used their feet, they've had great success. Of course, we've seen wickets to it as well, but that's as clean a strike as we've seen all day. Gun barrel straight, halfway up the side screen.
Just a little bit of width as well, gives herself room to use the full swing of the bat. Takes another swing at this one, watch out for the spin. Leopold just about manages to keep up with it and get as much of that one at all. But Pakistan have got to keep going and keep believing here, as another left-hander has come out to the middle, Ramin Shamim, who doesn't have too many runs to her name, just the 22 in her 8 innings so far. But the good news is she's got the highest strike rate in the team.
Yeah, and that's so vital. I think around the world in all T20 cricket, strike rate is almost looked at before it's looked at anything else, and that can make such a difference to your batting lineup. A strike rate of 122 will go a long way here, but you've also got to score 60 odd runs, 62 runs here to get them over the line.
Again, the sweep shot, which we'll see a lot from the Pakistan middle and lower order. They just don't have quite the power of an Australia or an England down the ground. So much like Ireland, they'll rely on sweep shots more so. Cara Murray looking to close out. We're just having a little problem with our graphics, so we'll keep you up to date with the score from here. Down the pitch again. And he finds mid-off. It's 82 for 6. There we go. Just in time. 82 for 6 after 14. And with 6 overs remaining, Pakistan needs 61 to win.
Yeah, it's a really important period now here for Ireland. That big key wicket that Lara McBride got last over has just shifted a bit of momentum that Pakistan were getting back. But it's a lot of runs to get, and with only 6 overs and 4 wickets left in the hutch, it's still a big ask for Pakistan. But the array of shots that we've seen, particularly down the ground, shows that Pakistan still believe that they can chase this. So Captain Gabby Lewis will have to be on our toes with their bowling changes for the last 6 overs as Andrew Leonard comes back into the box.
Yeah, good evening, Andy. Good evening, everyone. 6 to go, 61 to win. Very much in Ireland's control, but Parvez with a career best already in T20 international cricket, just keeping Pakistan interested and in the contest. And you'd imagine with 10 runs coming from the first McBride over, this will be another one that they will look to target, although it may bring about wicket-taking opportunities for the youngster from the Hills Cricket Club in beautiful Skerries, not far north of here in County Dublin. Great to see Ireland continuing to give youngsters their opportunities, enjoying her first taste of international action this summer. It's been a really good day of cricket. It really has. It's ebbed and flowed nicely. Both sides have had their moments, but Ireland holding the edge right now. Stifled appeal, but well outside the off stump. What did you make of that decision from Rowley Black? There was definitely no chance it was bat off pad or anything like that, so if there was a noise, it couldn't really have been anything but bat.
Yeah, sitting inside with these big headphones, Lenny, it's certainly hard to hear Nick, but the finger was up straight away. She played it away from her body. It can only have been a nick, but she didn't seem to think so at all.
Just wonder, will Sana maybe find herself in trouble with the ICC match referee? She took a long time and remonstrated, not just with the standing umpire, but the square leg umpire as well. Not something you want necessarily to see your captain do, but she very much wears her heart in her sleeve, and she's an all-action performer. She's been everywhere today. Actually, while she was there, I was very much in agreement with you and Izzy that actually Pakistan, being honest, if they batted their 20 overs and Sana was still there in the 20th, they'd probably have had enough to get over the line. That's how quickly she scores and the impact that she has. The big shots continue to come. Long on, Arlene Kelly isn't going to quite get there. It was one of those ones just in between. If she maybe had got off the rope a little quicker, it could have been a chance.
Yeah, it was in the air for a while. It's come down to us here at the box, but Arlene was right on the rope. Whether that was a message to be on the rope, but yeah, maybe a half chance. You always like to see her feel is going for it, but
big appeal this time again. Difficult over the wicket to the left-hander, because you have to get it to pitch in line and then kind of hold its line. And I think that's a fair decision as leg byes are given.
And you don't see it too often in off-spinners starting to a left-hander over the wicket. You usually see them coming around the wicket straight away, but certainly an LB appeal from over the wicket is very difficult to do as an off-spinner.
Yeah, definitely targeting young McBride and trying to find the boundaries off her, but she's responding ably. Such a different game to when you and I were growing up, and I'm a little bit older than you now, or always have been, but you just think about kind of spinners back in the day. They get hit for 1 or 2 boundaries, they go to pieces. They're kind of used to be hitting for runs now.
I think it's just been brought up in so much T20 and limited overs cricket that you are more often than not, the wickets are better. You know, in international cricket, I know in T20 cricket it's not 2 new balls, but the balls are very hard, and you will get hit more than you don't, but we do still see around the world how important a wrist spinner is, or a gun off spinner, and there's still a lot of value in that in your team. And from what we've seen from McBride in her short career, she certainly looks like she's got a lot of talent, and particularly growing up in the hills in a small ground, particularly square, you've got to have your wits about you and be really accurate with how you bowl. So we've seen that in the last 2 overs. Yes, she's been hit a bit, but she's bounced back and she hasn't kind of gone to pieces. I don't expect her to, but she's still trying to bowl the same ball she wants to bowl, even if she's getting hit from it.
Yeah, plenty of character in the youngster, as you'd expect from anyone who's grown up playing their cricket in Fingal, one of the real hotbeds of the game in Ireland. Arlene Kelly, who's really one of the primary death options alongside the overs that will probably see Orla Prendergast come back with. She's got 2 remaining. Arlene Kelly has 3. She'll come in for her second in the 16th here. Chipped just shy of a sprawling Canning, who does the right thing in terms of going for it, but will end up conceding a second run, as don't think she got much on it. As Pakistan, credit to them, are continuing to try and hunt this total down.
I think they've realised that they can't just sit and wait for Ireland to bowl bad balls. They've probably learnt a bit from the last couple of wickets, and they realise that they've got to throw a punch here and not just sit back. And poor old David Canning, the ball seems to have followed her around the last 2 overs since her amazing spell.
Driven into the gap, and Delaney will chase that in vain. It's a nice shot. Kelly continues to prove expensive. 2 wide in her first spell, arguably 2 full now in her second, and that's a fine stroke from Shamim. Races to the rope.
Yeah, just a bit full from Arlene Kelly there. I was questioning whether Lord Delaney was just a touch straight. It might just be the angle we're at, but it's a good shot. It's through the gap, and always in Clontarf, if you hit it through that gap, by and large you don't have to run them.
There's a big gap, isn't there, between the cover fielder, who's got protection on her right shoulder, Ava Canning, at extra cover, and mid-off. I think it's a combination of the two. I think the mid-off fielder needs to be a couple of paces to her right, and Canning needs to be a couple of paces to her left. Now, big appeal. We'll scamper through for what should be given as a leg by. Yeah, no bats involved in that one. Difficult for us to tell with the reverse angle, but hard for Kelly to get that to pitch in line and then go on to hit the stumps.
Yeah, and a good bit of fielding actually from Lord Delaney, who ran from mid-off to prevent the overthrow. But yeah, I think it's just probably pitched outside leg, but still always worth a shout. No DRS, go up, and you never know.
Clubbed into the offside, or Gabby Lewis fields well. Often in the history of Irish cricket, men's and women's, Andy, there's been kind of fantastic one-off victories. The series victories have proved much more elusive. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it's always something as a men's team we've tried to put our finger on, but it's very difficult. I think growing up, we shot.
And he beats the field. And the runs continue to come, and Pakistan very much hanging about in this contest as the sun shines here to end the most beautiful evening. That's a fine stroke. Parvez continues to excel, again overpitched and again punished.
Yeah, it's been proactive as well. You can see her just skip down the wicket for a couple of skips and pierces that gap beautifully, and the diving effort can't prevent the boundary. So yeah, this has been a good over now for Pakistan. 11 from it, including a leg by.
Again being proactive, but missing out a little bit and losing her bat entirely. She's going to have to complete that single without the bat. It will get us to the end of the 16th. She'll trudge back. I think her batting colleague will give her a hand. It moves to 99 for 6. There's the 6 bowlers that have been used. What are you thinking now as a captain? You can see that Kelly is being expensive. Who's bowling your last 4? Surely Prendergast bowls 2 of them.
Yeah, well, I think Prendergast will bowl now because I can see her take a hat off. So that's probably cheating a bit. Yeah, she's your trump card. She's your best bowler, in my opinion. So she's got 2 to bowl. She'll bowl these 2 overs from this end. You're probably looking at Jane Maguire as well, who bowled 2 overs for 9. You mentioned Arlene Kelly is become a bit of a depth specialist for this Irish team. She hasn't had the best day. It might not be coming out as well as she wants. So Prendergast, Maguire, I don't think we'll see Lara McBride again. Pakistan have played her quite well. So yeah, Orla Prendergast with her 2 overs, 12 balls, I think will have a big say in which way this game goes.
2 critical overs, the 17 and 19 now. It'll be the Pembroke all-rounder Prendergast who will bowl probably these 2 overs, you would imagine. Yeah, for Ireland, they've kind of dominated so much of this second innings. Where have things gone a little awry in the last sort of 18 to 24 balls?
Yes, Pakistan have brought up the 100, so 43 to requirements. I just think, like we've spoken about, the proactiveness of it. When they've looked to use their feet or sweep or do something not out of the ordinary, just something a bit different, they've had rewards. And we've seen how quick the outfield here is at Clontarf. If you do get it through that field, Prendergast is a 2 straight fielders up, so you expect her to bowl shorter into the wicket at the pad.
You can see there the last 5 overs 50 for 2, but this 7th wicket partnership is now worth 31 off just 20 deliveries. It's come in really good time, and you'd have to imagine that if Parvez is still there right at the death, Pakistan will be in with a fighting chance.
Yeah, exactly. And we've said it a couple of times on commentary today, it is a partnership, and 31 I think you said there, and Shamim's only scored 9, so it's someone just to hang in there with the senior batter who can score freely.
Chipped up towards mid-off and taken, and the partnership we've been waxing lyrical about it ends, and it ends thanks to the trump card of Ireland's bowling attack. Orla Prendergast finds her 2nd. It was a pretty simple catch that was dollied up, and the extra paces worked. Ireland finally have their 7th.
Yeah, and we spoke about how important Orla Prendergast's overs would be, and in her 3rd ball of her penultimate over, she's taken that key wicket of Parvez, who's 29 off 23, had a really good innings there, and she had built a partnership, but Ireland's catching has been brilliant today, and their fielding, the standard fielding has been very good today, and as you can see, high in the bat, mid-on, mid-off, or up, really good low catch. Captain Lewis delighted beside her there.
And you could almost see there was not just jubilation for Ireland, but real relief. There was concern there building as that partnership was growing and getting Pakistan closer towards that target of 143. They're going to be left with it all to do. They do have a little bit of batting left in the hutch. It's going to be Diana Baig who'll be promoted up the order. Usually hides away down at 10 or 11, but she's such a talisman in terms of her charisma for this team. Will she be able to maybe just influence the game by finding a few lusty blows potentially towards the leg side? Fielders running everywhere. Deep mid-wicket comes up into the circle. Deep square leg goes back. He suggested it was going to be short. It was. As Baig will get off the mark immediately with a single.
Yeah, and I think Ireland just simply have to hold their nerve here. They've done so much good work in these 16 overs to restrict Pakistan to what they're at now, 102 for 7. Senior bowler Prendergast has bowled a really good over so far, but T20 cricket is such a funny game. It takes one good bit of cricket or one good over and it can completely come out of your hands, so they've got to hold on to this really tight.
Comes off an under edge and is going to race down to the rope. Again, it's the shortest part of the ground, not exactly where Shamim intended, but the runs continue to flow here. A little bit unlucky for Prendergast. Pakistan continue to find the boundary.
Yeah, just looked like a bottom edge, and that boundary, the far side, unless you've actually been to the ground, you probably won't understand how small it is down there. You don't even bother running from third. Yeah, it's so small. You've probably got to be a bit straighter and back yourself to chase it around the corner, but no chance.
They whip down the ground. That's a glorious stroke. That's one of the shots of the day, in fact. An on drive of the highest quality, back-to-back boundaries, and Pakistan will just not lie down. They need 33. They've got 3 overs to do it. It's 110 for 7.
Yeah, you said it, Lenny. Probably the shot of the innings, just slightly over pitch from Orla Prendergast. Looked like a bit of a kind of whip. She clipped it through mid-on, and like I said, lightning quick boundary outfield here, and no chance.
Almost a bit of a helicopter aspect to it, wasn't it? Wrists like Donny being shown by Shamim, highly impressive. And the big question is going to be, where will Gabby Lewis turn? It's not going to be Arlene Kelly, who's tended to be the death specialist, who has been very expensive today. So it's going to be Jane Maguire instead, who's continued to work on her variations. She'll bowl lots of slower balls here, you'd suspect, in her last two. Run out chance, and probably throw goes to the wrong end, you would suspect, as Baig does her job, which is to get Shamim on to strike.
Yeah, and I think with the field setting that's in place, both fielders behind the wicket are up in the ring, so you'd like to think that Jane Maguire will go to her slower balls. She got a wicket earlier with one of her slower balls. 32 off 17. Like I said, it takes one good over here from either team, and it should go that way.
Ireland in T20 international cricket on that winning streak of 7, fresh from 3-0 series victories over Zimbabwe and Bangladesh. How they would love to make it 8. They'll have to close it out. Wickets also key here. Round the wicket, it is that off cutter she goes to. Shamim gets it into the offside. I suspect, Andy, they've probably gone to Baig in terms of getting her up the order, initially listed at number 11, because it's, rather than go to Sadi Iqbal, the left-hander, they want to get that right-hand, left-hand combination going here for the 8th wicket.
Yeah, and possibly just to rotate the strike, get it to the last over within distance. You know, if they get to the last over needing 15, they'll feel like they're in the game. Naturally, 7 wickets down, it's against them. It takes 3 good balls and Ireland are over the line, but like we said earlier, you're never out of this game.
Every single coach always says, take it deep, take it deep. That's what Pakistan are trying to do right now as they get through for another single.
Slower balls for Jane Maguire are the tonic. Fielders coming back into the ring behind the wicket. Fielders running all over the shop here, but good clear plans. It can be a lonely place at the top of a run-up for a bowler, particularly at the death.
Wide of the crease, slower ball again, and an error from Amy Hunter. An error that's going to cost just the single in the end. Not the greatest piece of running. There probably should have been 2 byes there. Maybe fortuitously it avoided the helmet, which would have been a 5-run penalty. That's down behind Hunter. She's now going to come up to the stumps.
Yeah, certainly if Jane Maguire is going to a lot of her slower balls, Hunter might feel a bit more comfortable up to the stump as opposed to fielding it on the first or second bounce, particularly with that helmet behind her.
It often turns on the second bounce actually more than the first off the pitch, so it can be tricky for the keeper. Right into the block hole again. It's pace off. Almost every delivery is a cutter and effective enough for the moment. Just the 5 singles, one of them being a bye from the over thus far.
Yeah, it's been a really good over. She's bowled beautifully today, actually, Jane Maguire. She's made use of the conditions, realised that pace off is going to work for her, and she's stuck to her guns. And like I said, like you said, Lenny, 4 from it, including the bye. 5 from it, including the bye, should I say.
Plenty of pressure now in Pakistan. Off cutter is hacked down the ground, won't have the pace to get up to the rope as Prendergast gets herself into that key position. She'll probably ask Jane Maguire to throw her the ball back, as she'll likely bowl the 19th. She's got that strut on. 18 have been bowled, 116 for 7. Pakistan need 27 to win. Will it be a bridge too far?
It's a lot of runs, Lenny. I think I'm trying to think of what, as a captain, you'd be happy with defending off the last over. I think anything less than 20, you fancy yourselves as a batting unit, but again, we haven't seen a big over like that really for a long time. And 2 middle to late order batters, Ireland's premier bowler, big over here, and the game should really be done. Yeah, the 19th, they seem to think of the modern game. You were talking about the data earlier in the day. That's the key over. That's the one that you want your best bowler bowling. Yeah, 100%. You know, I know it's 3 wickets, but you really don't want to go into the 20th. If you can kill this game here. Round the wicket and angled in. Again, the running between the wickets hasn't been maybe Pakistan's strength today. Probably wasn't a second there, but it will just be a single. What can Diana Baig conjure from the depths of all of her experience? Where will she be looking to target? Will it be sort of through that mid-wicket region, although the protection's just going out there now? Yeah, I think the way that Orla Prendergast is setting the field, she's clearly going to try to get hit to the bigger boundaries. You can see the straight fielders are up and the deep square and cow corner are in place. Short ball, hit.
Just a bit too much pace from Prendergast for Baig. She was looking to hit it out towards that deep mid-wicket region. Incredible skills from Prendergast to be able to bowl with both mid-off and mid-on up in the circle.
Yeah, and it's just backing her ability to bowl that back of a length or short. And, you know, if they hit me over my head, flat bat for 4 or 6, then good luck to them. But she's bowling with enough skill and enough nous there.
Pulled into the pitch and pulled away square. Singles not enough for Pakistan right now. They need a boundary, and they really need it. Probably 1 or 2 from these 3 deliveries.
Yeah, I would have thought so. You know, they clearly know that Prendergast is going to bang it in, so fine leg is up in the ring. Whether they can flick something over fine leg, just change it a bit, but 1 boundary here makes it very, very interesting. But it's been a good over so far from Prendergast. She's done exactly what she's wanted and been hit to those big sides.
This goes straight up towards mid-on. Who takes it? Arlene Kelly holds on, and Prendergast has a third. And is that for Ireland? Are they on the precipice of going 1-0 up in the series?
Yeah, and we literally just spoke about Prendergast holding her length and backing herself to bang it in. But Baig's tried to hit a flat bat shot over mid-on. A hard shot, particularly on a wicket that doesn't have a lot of pace in it. Again, another good clean catch for Ireland. They'll be really happy with how their field is today, and they've taken all those half chances that have come their way.
You could see the eye of the tiger there, couldn't you, from Prendergast? Such a competitor. Backed her skills enough to bang it into the surface. Kelly, who hasn't had a good day with the ball, shows her experience to hold on to a well-judged catch. And, well, Baig has done so much through her career for Pakistan. Not her day, really, with the ball or the bat today. She was expensive going for 35 from just 3.4 overs, and she's been caught out for 5. It's 119 for 8. It will bring Nashra Sandhu to the crease. And Pakistan, well, they're left with it all to do. This delivery really a bit of a freebie. 2, 4 or 6, the only results that Pakistan will want. They will want Shamim to have the strike in the 20th and final over. And just wonder, could the 2 batters have come together and discussed that? This is the final ball of the 19th. Deep mid-wicket will come in to play up into the circle. What will Prendergast do? Will she go full? She goes short instead, and it's carved away for what will just be a single. Won't be able to get back for 2. And Prendergast will finish an excellent day for herself. 29 runs with the bat and 3 for 27. In fact, a ball to go on the over. Andy, I'm getting ahead of myself. 120 for 8. Surely now Shamim needs to get the strike.
I think so. I think, you know, the fielders in the ring are on the ring. She's got to back herself to face as many balls as she can in that last over. But this has been a great set from Orla.
Going to have to take on the single. Direct hit would have been interesting, but Kelly decides that discretion is the better part of valour in this case. I'm just happy to concede the single. It's going to be 21 runs to win. In fact, 22 to win, 21 to tie from the final over. Prendergast has completed her excellent day. 3 for 28, 49th T20 international wicket for her. She's still just 23. She's truly the guiding light, the leading star in the Irish women's game.
Yeah, she's an all-round cricketer. She's got it all. She probably hasn't had the best day she's wanted in the field, but she's shown with the bat and ball how important she is to this group. And if they're going to have any success in the coming years, players like her have to be on.
Here we go. 22 to win off the final over. Maguire to bowl it, and this one's hammered into the deep. Gabby Lewis has herself into the key spot, and again the running between the wickets. Surely they have to take on the second there and get Shamim back onto strike.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be running the first one hard, and that's something you're taught at a very young age. Clearly Shamim is 23 off 18. If they're going to win this game, she's got to face, no disrespect to Sandhu, but this is a big ask. 21 needing off 5.
Remarkable, they didn't even attempt the second there. 21 to win now, 5 balls left. And a dot ball. Well, Ireland on the brink of a big win. It would be an 8th consecutive T20 international win, probably being the better of the 2 sides if they can just hold their nerve now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, having been in situations like this before, it is never over, but certainly I think you're right, Lenny. They've been better, I think, throughout the day. We weren't sure about their 140 odd score, but the way they've bowled and fielded has been really impressive.
Pakistan have unsurprisingly looked short of a run, if that makes sense. They haven't played an international since all the way back in April. That was in a different format. They haven't played a T20I for the best part of a year since their home series against South Africa. Ireland look battle hardened, they look fitter, they look more ready and more apt today, and it could well be a series win that they'll be thinking of over the coming days.
Yeah, certainly when you win the first game of a 3-match series, that is what you're thinking. But like you said, it's so important that they've played so much in T20 international cricket over the last 12 months.
Hit down the ground, mid-off is up in the circle, and Laura Delaney will have to chase after that. She'll chase in vain. It's probably going to be immaterial. All Jane Maguire needs to do is keep her foot behind that front line and make sure that no balls are bowled. But nonetheless, it's been a fighting effort with the bat from Pakistan.
Yeah, and again, we alluded to the first ball of the last over, that Shamim needs to face as much of this as she can. She's shown with that sort of a shot over mid-off there for 4.
She played really nicely, isn't it? This is a big stroke, but there's a fielder out there, and Gabby Lewis will hold on. Made it look easy, made good ground across to her left, and it's sealed with a hug. Victory is heading Ireland's way, and Gabby Lewis will be the happier of the two captains this evening. Ireland closing out a comfortable win now.
And it's an absolute cracking catch, Lenny, in front of the pavilion there, the Clontarf Cricket Club pavilion. I think it sort of sums up how Ireland have gone about this second innings. They've fielded, they've bowled brilliantly, they've bowled to plans, and they've been exceptional in the field. I think they've, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've taken every catch, and that's so important in T20 cricket. And that diving catch, full stretch, got to the ball, and brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Great technique as well. You could see the presentation of the hands out in front, the head position, despite having to make good ground to her left. Very, very still indeed. She's Ireland's best fielder for me, Gabby Lewis, and she does very well there to take that in front of an adoring home crowd. But a good crowd today. I think we're going to be packed out on Friday and Sunday. If you are watching on from any part of our beautiful island, come on down to Clontarf Castle Avenue. Tickets are available on cricketireland.ie. We'd love to see close to capacity crowd on both Friday and particularly Sunday, where Ireland might not just be thinking of a series win, they might be thinking of continuing this winning streak. Ends a fine innings from Rameem Shamim. She made 27, her career best in international cricket. Here comes the number 11 for the final ball, Sadi Iqbal. That is going to be that. It's not sealed in the way Ireland would have liked. It's going to race away for what I think might be given as 4 byes. It will matter not. Ireland have closed out an excellent victory. They'll take it by 11 runs. They move 1-0 up in the series. They continue this T20 international winning streak. They continue the winning start to the new coach Lloyd Tennant's head coach career. He's made it 6 in a row. Ireland have made it 8 in a row in this format. And you have to say the better of the two sides on home soil have been excellent today across all 3 disciplines. Their fielding, their running between the wickets, and indeed their bowling has ended up clinching the deal. Ireland, they win by 11 runs.
Yeah, and I love their slightly muted celebrations as well. You know, this is a team they're playing who are ranked ahead of them in the T20 international rankings, but it shows what confidence this team has at the moment. Like you said, Lenny, 8th T20 international in a row that they've won, and it's becoming a habit for them, and that's the best habit you can have in this sport. And they're taking such great confidence. Different players are coming in and producing match-winning performances for them. They can be really happy with how they've started their series, but like you said, Lenny, it's so important going into Friday that they back it up and they try to clinch a series on Friday. Yeah,
not the perfect performance by any stretch of the imagination. Questions to be answered in terms of the middle order and particularly later order batting, and that slight over reliance potentially on their big 3, their top 3 in the order. But I think it will be a delighted Irish backroom staff moving 1-0 up in the series. You can see high fives all around there for everyone involved in the team. It may well be Orla Prendergast who'll end up with the Player of the Match award, but a special word for Ava Canning there, who's in shot 4 overs, 1 for 9. Outstanding from her.
Yeah, amazing spell. I was on comms and she bowled her 4 overs straight, and she was just so impressively accurate. Didn't take the wickets that would get the headlines, but having played a lot of T20 cricket, you realise how valuable those sort of spells are.
Yeah, plenty of contributions for Ireland with the bat. 37 from Amy Hunter, 29 and 28 from Prendergast and Paul in tandem, who batted really nicely at number 3 and 4. But the problem was that lower order just tailed away a little bit, and in some ways the two innings almost mirrored each other, didn't they? Lots of starts, nobody going on to get the big score. In fact, it was Hunter's 37 that was the highest score between the two teams. on the day. The highest partnership was that between her and Orla Prendergast. They put on 45 altogether. And the way that innings tailed away will just leave a little bit of concern for Ireland.
It will, but there's a lot of room for them to go. How can we turn that 6 partnership into 15 or that 0 into 10? Small little wins there and you're up to 160. So they'll be really happy with how the top half went. Like I said at half time, you want those players to go on and get 50 and 60 individually, but there's certainly enough there to work on to make them very excited.
Yeah, the star bowler on the day, Fatima Sana, will actually come out on the losing side. I thought she was exceptional. A real beauty to dismiss Gabby Lewis, that little nip backer that cut the opposite number in half. She finishes with 4 for 26, a wicket apiece for the other 4 bowlers used. Be interesting to see if there's any changes made to that Pakistan bowling lineup for match number 2. Will they go with an additional seamer into the team? Potentially. And then for the Pakistan batters, well, despite that career best for both Parvez and Shamim, best in their T20I history, 29 and 27, lots of batters getting in, no one kicking on.
Yeah, and just looking at the bowlers' last graph, I wonder will Pakistan look at that and see Ireland had their success with a lot of their seamers, and I think Pakistan just missed maybe one of the seam option. I think the way the Ireland top order played the Pakistan spinners was really impressive, and certainly they may have a couple of selection issues they might need to bring up going into the second game.
Yeah, I think Wahida Akhtar will certainly be loosening her shoulders and getting ready to come into action on Friday. The highest partnership of the innings was actually that one between Parvez and Shamim, who both played ever so well, but lots of starts and wickets falling at key times, kind of like they did in the first innings.
Yeah, and I think just taking wickets at regular intervals and not allowing a team to get a big partnership is a lot of credit to how Ireland went about it in the field, but also with the ball. So not allowing them to get away even in the power play, and then from 6 to 10.
One of the other key differentials, that flexibility of Ireland having that 6th bowler. It was certainly an off day for Arlene Kelly, there's no doubt about that, but because of those couple of overs that Laura McBride was able to give Gabby Lewis, it was more than enough for Kelly to just be restricted to those 2 overs. Prendergast probably the star of the show. She's just one shy of a 50th T20I career wicket, and 2 wickets too for Jane Maguire. Also Ava Canning, outstanding. That is the match summary. Quite brilliant from Ireland to go 1-0 up in the series. I want to thank Andy Balbirnie. It was great to have your company throughout the day. We're going to hear from you on Friday and Sunday, and we're also going to have a little bit of additional support coming in for the last couple of days. Looking forward to hearing the thoughts of the former Irish international leg spinner Celeste Rack as well. Ireland 1-0 up in the series, and very good value for their victory. I think it's time almost for the post-match presentation. Let's get out to the former Ireland women's captain. It's Isabel Joyce.
Welcome to the post-match presentation. Ireland taking the first win in this 3-match series by 11 runs on this occasion. We turn first to the player of the match, and I'm joined by Donna Armstrong, Cricket Ireland president, to hand over the award. It was a real day for the bowlers, so honourable mentions to Fatima Sana, 4 for 26 for her. Ava Canning, exceptional, 1 for 9, 2 for 20 for as well, but for her 3 for 28 along with 29 runs, it is Ireland's Orla Prendergast. Orla, congratulations. What a win. It got a little bit tight at the end there, and you came back strong and took some really important wickets.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a hard enough ground to defend in, so kind of tricky. I think just shots run away that sometimes aren't worth as much in other grounds. But yeah, I was delighted to come back at the end and come back strong.
How do you assess your own personal performance?
I think I actually felt pretty good at the bat. Was obviously disappointed to get out, and I did. And yeah, I think opening up I was probably a touch off with the new ball. I think need to be a bit tighter, but was glad to come back strong.
You obviously bowled so well, so finally just a word about Ireland's bowling attack. Such a good performance in the middle, in particular from Ava Canning, 1 for 9.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible spell. I think 4 overs on the trot and a couple of those at the back end of the power play, which are always the trickiest overs to bowl, I think. Yeah, gave very little width and really attacked the stumps, which is just what we ask her to do. So yeah, an amazing spell.
Well done. Another great performance from Ireland's Orla Prendergast. Next up, we've got Pakistan's captain, Fatima Sana. Fatima, congratulations on your own personal performance, first of all, but a disappointing loss for your team in the first game of the series.
Thank you so much. It doesn't matter if we won this match, so definitely that would be good, but unfortunately, so in next matches we will try to win this.
You're talking about the next matches, so looking back on this performance, where do you think the game was lost?
I think our batting collapsed, so we need to execute the best plan in the batting. So the pitch is good, so we will try to execute the best plan in next matches.
Bowling wise, you must have been pleased. You continued to take wickets and in fact took all 10 of Ireland's wickets.
Yeah, definitely. We all know there's the bowling wicket. So our all bowlers knows that the it's a bowling pitch, so they execute a best plan. So definitely that's the best thing.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck in the next match. That's Pakistan's Fatima Sana. And finally, we hear from Ireland's captain, Gabby Lewis. Congratulations. I know it's muted celebrations because you came out here saying you wanted to win all 3 games, but you must still be very pleased with that performance.
Yeah, very pleased. I think, at the half-time innings, I know it felt like we were maybe a couple short, but I actually think that was a hard wicket to bat on. I think we did super well. Amy up top looking to be as her attacking self. And yeah, we set the tone from the get-go, which is very, very pleasing.
I suppose lots of people getting starts and anyone who came in kind of picked up the mantle, which must have been very pleasing to see.
Yeah, 100%. I think, that's the message from, the support staff is that, we need to be keeping as aggressive as possible and, we bat all the way down. And we showed that today, with the girls coming in and having that, confidence to take it on, just like the girls at the top. So, yeah, very pleasing all round.
With your bowling attack, you had an extra bowler compared to Pakistan, which I think gave you a little bit more leeway to mix your bowlers up.
Yeah, we have so many options, like Lord Lenny didn't even bowl and we still have Leah Paul and, we're lucky in that, every bowler that came on made it hard for me to take them off, which is always a great thing. Ava bowled outstanding. It's very hard to bowl 4 overs, on the bounce in a T20 and she did outstanding. So, yeah, every bowler did brilliant today.
Finally, 8 consecutive wins on the bounce for you guys in T20Is. What do you look at today that maybe you'll try and change and turn around in a couple of days' time?
I think it's just to not get complacent and wanting to keep getting better. I know it's easy to look at that and go, yeah, we've got the win, but we're looking to take it 3-0 here. So I think, we'll go back. In previous years we would have, after that game, given a bit of celebration, but this is what we've came here to do. We know that we can win and we're very confident to take it 3-0.
Okay, well, congratulations. That's Ireland's Gabby Lewis, the captain, who just 20 International Series here in Clontarf. We do hope you've enjoyed viewing here today along with myself and the 2 Andys, Balburney and Leonard. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Please join us again on Friday, either at the ground or indeed online. We'll be here at 3:45 p.m. in the afternoon and we'll see you then.